Welcome into Around the Felt. I am Reagan Loescher. Here with me today is my caddy from the golf course, Colin Tong. Now, we just got done playing in a golf scramble at Beaverbrook.
4-man, 2 over. You know, we were 9 back from the lead, but we had a good time. That's all that matters.
Yeah, we were playing well till Colin got some big news that he wants to share with you guys. So I'll let him do that.
Yeah, so today I got offered a position at Pro Football Focus. It's a part-time contracted position for the college football season where I'll be logging live games and watching film for them and going through the data entry process. So I'm excited. I got my foot in the door in the football industry, just something on the resume, so it's something I'm doing on the side on the weekends and at nights, but I'm pretty fucking excited for it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, it's sad that this show must come to an end with you taking this position.
No.
We had 4 good episodes. But no, I'm just kidding. But no, we're obviously super happy for you.
Jacob's coming in to replace.
Yeah, no, we got Jacob Batoff. As soon as he graduates, he'll come replace Colin. So, but no, all of us at the ATF family are really happy for him, and we think it's going to help us more with our credibility because when you have a Pro Football Focus guy on the podcast, it just makes us
should help a little bit, hopefully.
But yeah, well, we're going to do something a little different today. Obviously, the past 4 episodes have been on the different NFL divisions, but
yes,
this one we figured we'd do, we wanted to get a fantasy football podcast episode in because we know there's a lot of you out there that play it like us, and I'm sure a lot of you have questions on how to handle your drafts and where to get the best value in your drafts, so we kind of wanted to go over which players we like and kind of just how to handle the drafts because obviously we're 3 weeks away at this point from the season, so...
Yeah, this seems like the perfect time to do it. A lot of people don't want to draft before the preseason just due to injuries. So kind of like the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks is where it really starts to heat up. So we felt like this was a good time. We've done half the division from the league so far. Get a fantasy football special in for you guys. And then we'll continue with the divisions and we'll wrap it all up before the season, before we get into the real stuff. But we're still going to start the same way today. We're going to start with breaking news. And off the bat, the Colts have already announced that Anthony Richardson is the starting quarterback. And if you listen to our last episode with the AFC South, we debated this. Reagan was on the side where, okay, I think you should let him sit for a little bit. He's clearly not ready. He only started 12 games in college, so not a lot of experience. Like, don't throw him to the fire right away, where I was more on the side of let the kid get reps. It's not going to be a good team this year anyways. You're only going to get better with taking reps. So it seems like the Colts, it seemed like they were going to do this from the start because as soon as they took him, even their owner and GM are like, the guy needs to play. He clearly didn't play a ton in college. Just get him reps. And Gardner Minshew's not really going to do much for this team anyways.
It's gonna be a rough year for the Colts.
I think it's gonna be a rough year regardless. Is why I was like, let the kid get his reps because he didn't play that much. But you know, why do you think he should have sat?
I just don't think he's ready, like I said. I mean, I think it wouldn't hurt to let the kid learn a little bit more. Like I said, the first couple games are pretty difficult, 2 of them being division games, so I'd rather let him sit a little bit and let him learn, but it is what it is. I mean, I get the side of, hey, we traded up and took this guy and it was criticized by a lot of people, so if you're going to reach on him, you got to let him play and learn, so take his lumps. So
I don't mind it. We'll see. The only issue is if he's like really bad the first 6 weeks of the season, like really bad, like if you bench him at that point and then bring Minshew
that was my whole point.
It's almost
it's worse that way.
Yeah, mess with his confidence a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do think it's the right move to play him. Let's just hope that kid can handle it. And I don't think they would make this decision this early in the preseason if they didn't think that he could handle it. So
yeah, and
we will see.
We have some more Colts news. Jonathan Taylor once again in the news. This time it was for a personal matter, which was excused by the team, but it's still pretty interesting because it just seems like this guy's always in the news.
Yeah, something's going on.
Yeah,
always.
I mean, it definitely starting to make me nervous from a fantasy perspective.
We hope it's nothing serious, but at the same time, it seems like once a week something's going on with Taylor and the team.
Yeah.
Which
is another reason why I'm not high on Richardson, because if he doesn't have Taylor, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, Taylor's instrumental for Richardson's success this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, because who are we going to put in? Zach Moss is gone, too. The backfield's
you don't really have much behind him.
Scarce right now, so...
This is a fantasy football special, so with this JT news, does it alter where you take Taylor in the draft? Are you a little worried to take him with all the news that's been going on the past month or so?
Right.
Or are you still taking him? Because last year he was pick number 1. Right, and he had the bum ankle. The offensive line was bad. Matt Ryan was bad. The whole offense was bad. But the year before that, he was RB1.
I mean, right now he's going around on ESPN. That's what we're basing all of the ADP we're going to tell you guys today is off of their half-point PPR rankings for the draft. But right now he's going at pick 28, roughly. So
I feel like that's late, man.
So, I mean, in the third round, the early third round in 12-man formats, I mean, I would take him there.
I'm taking him in the second round for sure. I mean, if I'm anywhere from 15 to 20, I'm like, I just think it's a great value.
Yeah.
If he's fully healthy with Richardson, with his rushing upside to pair with Taylor, I think it could open a lot of doors for him. And I think he can be back more towards what he was 2 years ago, especially if the ankle's healthy. It is risky, though. You know what I mean? It's the type of draft strategy you want to go with. You want to go save players, or you want to, like, swing for the fences. It's a different strategy to take. I don't know. I think back end of round 2, though, I think that's a great spot for him.
Yeah. Well, moving on from that, because we'll take a deeper dive into
we'll get
more
into
fantasy stuff. But before we get into the actual fantasy, Hard Knocks episode 2 in the books with the Jets. I enjoyed it a lot. Again, obviously, it's for me as a Jet fan, it's awesome always getting to see an insight. I mean, it was also good to see the bad, because obviously I know it's an NFL team. There's no way that everything's perfection, so it's good to kind of get to see some of the ugly that's going on. And obviously, they were going at it with the Bucs a bunch, apparently, in their practice, so there was a report that they had to cancel the Jets and Bucs joint practice today, and the Giants stepped in.
Yeah, the Giants were like, hey, Bucs, come practice with us, because there were too many fights going on yesterday. I didn't see the new Hard Knocks episode, Reagan. How did the Jets' offensive line look? Because I'm hearing that is an issue in camp right now.
Yeah, from everything that they were saying on the show, they weren't able to protect Rodgers at all. He was having no time passing, and Saleh kind of came out on the show and was saying how they had such a good skill group. Like, they got the Hall of Fame quarterback, they got the reigning offensive rookie of the year, they got a stacked running back room, two 10 million plus wide receivers out there. So they had all the pieces together, and they were basically saying, like, Saleh was like, our success comes down to how the offensive line is this year, because they know the defense is elite, and it was elite last year. So he was basically saying it's all up to the guys up front, the big uglies, if the Jets are going to have a good season. So
I think Saleh's right on point. I mean, it's strange to me that Mekhi Becton isn't one of the best 5 out there right now. I think Saleh said something to the lines of, we don't know if he can play a full game at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
which is strange.
I've given up on him.
but I mean, he was really good his rookie year until he got hurt. You know, I mean, he's certainly one of the most top 5 talented offensive linemen on the team. It almost seems like there's motivational issues or getting healthy. Like, there's something else there.
It's a weird situation. But
it is a weird situation.
I don't know. We could talk more. We'll talk more about the Jets and that whole team breakdown as we watch more Hard Knocks, and also once we do the AFC East breakdown in a couple episodes.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all we got for breaking news. But now we're going to go to Joe, and he's going to give us the questions you guys asked.
All right, so we got some fantasy football questions from some fans.
I'm excited for these.
First one we got is Walmart.
Nick Walmart, shout out. Big fan of the show. Appreciate you, brother.
In a first-year Dynasty League, how much do you want to factor in young talent while also trying to be in win now?
I think there's a very fine line to winning now and bringing young talent. I know in our Dynasty League last year, Reagan, you took the approach where you sold all your veteran players and you loaded up on first-round picks where you can go and kind of almost get whoever you want.
I believe in totally going young from the start. I invested in the league. I completely tanked the first year. I traded away all my old guys, got as many picks as possible. I even traded away picks in the original startup draft. Picks in the original startup draft to get future picks. And then when the draft came around and playoff teams were getting all worried, I then used those picks to tilt them into trading me better players. So I was able to kind of flip it to now I have a good blend of young guys from going and getting all those young guys in the draft and trading for those young guys to then going out and acquiring some veterans to pair and blend with them, where I feel like I have a very competitive roster this year just by tanking year one.
Yeah, I actually liked your approach a lot. I drafted young as well. I took a lot of, in the startup draft, I took a lot of rookie wide receivers, and some of them hit. I took Olave, I traded him and got Cooper Kupp, I believe. I took George Pickens, I traded him as well to get more win-now players because my team was set up to do that. I think the best way to go about it is taking young players that are about to enter their primes, like a Jalen Waddle and a Amon-Ra St. Brown, a Bijan Robinson. You want to load up on guys that are 21 to 24 years old that have been, ranked 12 to 25 at their position group, but you know are going to take that next step. And then if you get to the trade deadline and you're in a position where, okay, I'm 7-4 or 8-3, and you have a good team and you're young, then you could forfeit future draft picks to go for it and win it. But I think taking an approach where you load up on 27-year-old running backs, even if your running backs this year are McCaffrey and Eckler, if you take that approach, you better give up the draft capital to go win it and load up that team to win it. Because if you take an old approach and don't win a championship, you're going to regret it, because then you're not going to have the depth behind them in future years, and you're going to regret not using those picks to win a title.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. So, I mean, I definitely suggest going young. I mean, because think about it. When you're starting up a league on top of that, like, everyone wants to win right away, so everyone's going to be selling out. So if you're willing to be like, hey, I don't need to compete with these other guys, coast the first couple of years, and then when all those guys who went all out in the beginning and couldn't deal with the fact of sucking for a couple of years start to fall down, there's going to be a lot less competition in the years to prior, and you're going to be set up so much better because these other guys didn't care about their future.
Absolutely. If you load up on rookies and second-year players early on, especially if they've already showed something or they're a highly touted prospect, you're going to reap the rewards down the road if you're patient. And
that's the thing with Dynasty, you have to be patient.
You have to be patient. You can't try to rush it. And if you take a trade, even if you get rid of a stud player today that maybe has 2 to 3 more years left, but you get a ton of draft capital and you know value-wise you're winning, you still got to make that deal, because draft capital is so important. And like Reagan knows this because he made so many trades last year. We traded with good players and got draft capital because he was able to use it, though, to get Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall. Like, you're able to make good moves. That makes sense.
But when you have guys like Coco giving you a first-round pick for Gerald Everett, it helps too.
Yeah, I mean, shut up.
Definitely.
That's crazy.
Definitely the worst trade I've ever seen in my life.
It helps to get in the league with some dummies, you know. But
oh my God, shots fired on around the felt today.
No, but I mean, I
think go young. And if you think you can go for it, then you can go for it with young talent. But it's the way to go. Even if you don't win year one, be patient.
All right, what do we got next, Joe?
All right, next we got Jared Crampton. He wants to know who your guys' dark horse tight end is this year.
Well,
that's a great question. We will get there.
We were going to get there, but since you asked it now, we can both give our dark horse tight end. So mine is my sleeper or dark horse was Njoku. He's currently going at around 103 on ESPN for half-point PPRs, and the reason why I'm looking at him as a dark horse candidate is the fact that he had a lot of success last year early on. Deshaun Watson going into year 2 has always been pretty fond of his tight ends, and the fact that the Browns went out and paid Njoku in the offseason, they wanted him to come back. The Austin Hooper's gone. Harrison Bryant didn't work out, so they obviously are committing to him as the number 1 tight end. I just think he's going to be a big focal point of the offense. And now with Kareem Hunt gone as well, Nick Chubb really hasn't proven to be that pass-catching back. I think there's going to be a lot more check-down opportunities with Hunt gone that Njoku can fill the role on, and he's super athletic. He's one of the few tight ends in the league that can take a touchdown 80 yards to the house. So, yeah, that's my dark horse.
Yeah, I actually like that pick a lot. He had 58 receptions for 628 and 4 touchdowns last season with Hooper there. And Watson was absolutely terrible last year, so if you're a believer that Watson gets back to close to what he was, then I think Njoku could be a good tight end. He's a good if you like to punt the tight end position in your drafts, he could be a good pick late.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will be punting the tight end position as a whole because there's not a lot of elite tight ends, which we'll highlight more later. But who's your guy?
I like that pick. I know you don't like my pick. I got Dalton Kincaid. I know you didn't watch him at Utah, but I did.
It's not a watching thing, but
he was very good in college, man. He is a beast in the receiving game. He is the best receiving tight end in this draft class. And at ADP 147, I know it's a rookie, and rookies, especially tight ends, they struggle to produce early. But the Bills need more weapons. They need more help outside of Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis didn't step up last year. Dawson Knox is more of a red zone kind of threat. He's not a big, high-volume guy, right? He scores touchdowns. He's touchdown or bust for you if you start him. I think Kincaid will be really good in this offense. I think they'll line him up in the slot, and he's a big, fast target that I think Josh Allen will love in the middle of the field. I think he fits the Buffalo offense really well. I like Kincaid a lot, especially at 147. Like, if you're punting the tight end position, I would take a guy like Njoku, and then maybe 2 or 3 rounds later also take Kincaid, so you have 2 options, and you can kind of play the matchups. I like that. Like, I think he's a good guy because he's a rookie to pair with another tight end in that same kind of ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, My whole thing with Kincaid, I put him on the do not draft list. I mean, if you can get him as a free agent, go pick him up. I'm fine with that. But I don't think you should burn a draft pick on him because even if he does have an impact, I think it's going to take him a while to break through because we rarely ever see rookie tight ends have an impact in their first year. Like what
But
Kyle
I think they're
Pitts
gonna- I
is
think
like a
they're gonna
rare
line him up in
exception, and
a
even
slot.
Kyle Pitts didn't do a lot. And the fact that they still are. Knox got a pretty big contract for a tight end just a year ago.
I'll tell you right now, Dalton Kincaid right now is a better receiver than Dawson Knox will ever be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not debating that. It's more so just the fact that we rarely ever see tight ends have a big impact in their rookie year. So I'm just going off the history of the position. Like, sure,
That's
he could have
fair,
a big.
but I think every
Sure, he could have a big impact
situation's
NFL wise,
different,
but
though.
I'm talking about strictly fantasy. Like, I don't think he's just going to automatically take over.
he's
the
more
spot.
of a receiver than a blocker. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he's
well-
not coming in as a tight end that's a traditional tight end like Hawkinson, where they're a phenomenal blocker as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just more so don't see it happening early on.
That's
But
fair. I
before
mean,
Warren
it's
to pick.
tough for a tight end to produce as a rookie.
I'm just saying,
understand
I
that.
wouldn't
Yeah.
take him because I think you're going to end up dropping him because I don't think he's going to produce him right away, and then you're going to end up, after 2-3 weeks of him not doing much, not getting a huge target share, you're going to be like, why'd I draft this guy? Versus if you wait a couple weeks, he's on your waiver wire, then he starts to get more and more of a snap percentage, more and more targets. Later on in the season, he could have an impact. I just don't see a point in wasting a draft pick on him.
But he's also his ADP is also 147.
But if
Like, you're taking him in round 10,
if I'm at
11.
that, if I'm in round 10 or 11, I'd rather be taking a backup running back that could potentially get a job if somebody gets injured.
like who?
Well, I haven't fully looked at it yet, but
Stumped.
yeah, you don't, like
Stumped.
I don't
Who
have
you
a,
taken
I'm
Kenneth Gainwell.
well, let me look who's going. I got to look who's going around that
Hey,
at
that
that
wasn't
point.
the question, all right? You guys are getting on
That's
track.
yeah. We're
We're getting
actually,
a little
we're
off track.
rambling on these
But right
questions.
around, all right, I'm looking right now. Rashard Penny around the same ADP. Jeff Wilson, Zach Charbonnet, Raheem Mostert, Devin Singletary.
God, give me Dalton Kincaid over Raheem Mostert any day of the week, dude.
I'm just
You're
saying.
gonna argue you take Raheem Mostert or Jeff Wilson over Dalton Kincaid?
I mean, one guy's gonna be-
the ceiling on Kincaid is so much higher than either of those two guys in this
Yeah.
offense.
Not early on, though. I'd rather the chance of a starting
I'm
running
not
back.
saying early on. I'm saying ADP 147.
Dude, I don't know. I just don't believe in taking rookie tight ends, dude. If you want to take your shot, you can. But
I just think this is a high-powered
I'd stay away
I
from
just think
it.
it's a high-powered offense that is dying for more weapons.
we'll see what happens.
And
Man.
I think they took Kincaid in the first round for a reason.
Yeah, but you could say
He
that.
fits
You
a
could say
role
that
in
with
that
like
offense.
every rookie tight end ever drafted, dude. In fantasy, like look at
Yeah,
the
but
past
not
couple
every
years.
rookie tight
OJ
end.
Howard, David Njoku, who we were just talking about.
Yeah, but they
Evan
were
Ingram,
but they are
Kyle
a different
Pitts.
play
Kyle
style.
Pitts.
than-
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Evan Ingram as a rookie was really good actually.
What was his fantasy finish?
He had
I don't
like
even-
700 yards and 6 touchdowns, I believe, as a rookie, which for a tight end for a rookie is like really good.
Yeah,
He was
dude.
good. I mean, Kincaid fit. He's not as fast as Ingram, but he fits the more mold of Ingram than the other two you mentioned because he's more of a receiver than a blocker than a traditional tight end.
Let's see. All right, you know what? We're talking a little bit too much about this, but
Yeah, we are. We got in an argument, but it's fine. We were supposed to talk about our tight ends later, but that was a great question.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jared.
What do we got next? Yeah, good question. Jared.
So, Kyle Curley asked, who's your favorite rookie being taken in late rounds?
Oh boy.
Well,
Well, I
you
just
just-
went on.
I think we know who yours is.
I'll go someone other than Kincaid, I guess. That's
the
a really
answer
good
to that.
question.
Well, I'll give you mine. I think you should take if you're going to be at that point in the 10th, 11th round, I would rather have Zach Charbonnet, who's going 143.9, just because of the fact that they went out and took him in the second round. Kenneth Walker's already been dealing with injuries in college and in the pros already. So the fact that Kenneth Walker was almost the offensive rookie of the year last year, and they didn't feel confident enough in his health, so they went out and got a guy like Charbonnet. Makes me want to take the shot. Because we've seen it with the Seattle's running backs. They're always super productive. They just can never stay healthy. So if Walker's out for an extended period of time and they plug in Charbonnet to the backfield to himself, I think he's going to have a great season and can have some big weeks for you. So yeah, that's kind of a guy I want to target late. Another guy I would target late is Achane for the Dolphins. Achane for the Dolphins, just because of the fact that they're like we were talking about before. I mean, it's a crowded backfield, but I think he can win out the job because Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert are both older guys that both have a lot of injury history. So it's another guy where it's like they could fall into a role just based off of injuries. So what about you though, Colin?
Well, first I want to kind of shit on your point right there about Charbonnet. You talk about Walker's health. He played 15 of 17 regular season games, including their postseason game, 16 of 18. it's not that they don't believe in Walker. It's that Pete Carroll's an old school coach that just loves to run the football and loves having running backs. So they thought Charbonnet was a good player in round 2. I don't hate Charbonnet as a player. I just think, fantasy-wise, I just think him and Walker are going to split carries too much for one of them to be ideal in fantasy. Like,
So you
Walker was
wouldn't
good.
want to target Charbonnet at that late in the draft.
I personally don't want to target Charbonnet unless I also have Walker. Then give me both. I want the
All right,
handcuff
so-
because if one goes down,
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
if I'm taking one, I'm taking both.
I don't know if I'd take Walker in like the 5th, 6th. I don't
I
know
mean,
if I
Walker
wanna...
was so good. I mean, the last 3 games of the year last year, which is
No, I'm not saying he's bad, but
semifinal. You got semifinals and the finals. In
I agree.
fantasy.
Walker was a beast, but
He
that's
ran
my whole
for
point. Why did they?
107 and 133.
Yes, I know. I'm not saying it's not that Walker's bad. It's the fact that they went out and took this guy in the 2nd round.
I know because
So-
that's just the way Pete Carroll wants to play football. He wants to run the ball. He
No, I'll
always
take the
has.
shot, and I love that system, and
Yeah.
because of that system, that's why I want to take the shot.
I just think it's. I don't know. I think they're splitting carries too much. I don't love it, and I also don't think either of them are great for PPR wise.
Anyway, who's your guy then?
Man, it's tough. I'm trying to think of which of the 4 receivers I would want because JSN's coming in as receiver 3. Quentin Johnston's going as receiver 3. I think Zay Flowers has the most opportunity for targets right away.
I'd say Addison
You
has
know.
the most
Well,
for targets. I mean,
Jefferson's going to get probably 15 targets a game. Addison,
yeah, but
Addison's
I'm
probably
assuming the
three-
Vikings are going to be more pass heavy. is my
Yeah,
point.
but Addison's probably the 3 after Hawkinson, where I think Zay Flowers could come in and be the 2. I think he could get more targets.
What
than
you think will
Odell.
be over Odell?
I think
and
he
David?
could, right? Because everything coming out of camp there, I don't know if you guys watch Good Morning Football, but Peter Schrager is one of like the best in the business, most plugged in, and he's been raving about Flowers, saying everything coming out of camp is he's been phenomenal. And I know we talked about the Ravens, and I wasn't necessarily high on him because of his poor yak in college and his small stature, but apparently the dude just rips out phenomenal routes and gets open. So I think Zay Flowers could be a great pick late. If you took any of the 4 rookie wide receivers, I wouldn't be mad. I kind of like all their positions. I like Addison with Jefferson across from him. I think he's going to have good matchups. I like Quentin Johnston more so
I
with
don't
the
like.
fact
I don't like him. Out of all of them, I'm down on him the most, just
I
because
think he has.
he has the hardest path.
I agree. He has the hardest path. But the fact that Kellen Moore came over from Dallas means they want to spread it out and throw the ball more because that's
Yeah.
kind of. He wanted to do that in Dallas, but McCarthy
It
held
also
him
doesn't
back
help
and wanted
that
to run
they-
the ball more. So I
He
think the
is a big
system-
body guy that could be that big body.
He's
red
kind of
zone
like
guy.
Mike Williams,
But
Williams,
that's-
kind
yeah.
of tight, you know. And last year, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both got hurt. I think he does have a more difficult path. I agree with that.
But-
I'd probably go Zay Flowers at this point. From what I'm hearing in camp and seeing everywhere, I think Zay Flowers is a good late pick.
All right. Next, what you got next, Joe?
Evan Schiffgo says, hypothetically, if you have the 2nd pick in the 1st round, who are you taking?
Second pick, 1st round. Well, Reagan, this is
Well,
the position that you're in.
Yeah,
correct?
that's funny. I'm in a league with Evan Schiffko, and I'm in that same spot. So
That's a good
Hypothetically-
Probably
question.
just a
I
coincidence.
think he's just trying
Yeah.
to map out your draft strategy
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
can use it against you.
yeah, I guess
It's
so.
just a coincidence.
Hypothetically, I'm in the same spot. But yeah, for me, I'm taking it. I'm either taking McCaffrey or Jefferson. Whatever one doesn't go, it's pretty easy for me to just say I'll take whichever one. So I don't really have much more to say. I'll just let the number 1 guy make the tough choice, and I'll be happy to get the earlier pick in the 2nd round.
I agree with that strategy. If I'm going first, 100% taking Jefferson. At 2, you can't go wrong with McCaffrey. I'm a big believer in getting your running backs early. I think there's more options at receiver later on. You can fill that value. You have more breakout opportunities. And if you run out of depth at running back, you're pretty screwed in that position. So I would go McCaffrey, too, as well. So I think that's a smart choice.
Yeah.
Whoever they don't take the other.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't hate Eckler either, though, because
I
he
wouldn't
was already
hate
one
Chase
last year.
either.
I also, if you take Chase, I can't be mad.
But with both Burrow and certainty.
But yeah, I'd probably go McCaffrey.
Yeah, I think it's McCaffrey or Jefferson, whoever falls in your lap. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
I got a question for Colin from Lino D.
All right, Lino.
He wants to know why Tong is so bad at fantasy.
That's funny, Lino, because I won your league last year, so why don't you shut the hell up?
I could take that one for you, Lino. I mean, he's been beaten down so bad by me all these years in fantasy that he just lost all of his confidence, and now he doesn't know how to play with you guys out there in TC and J either. So I have to take blame for that. He has no confidence anymore.
Oh, man.
He doesn't know what to do.
The day this is recording, our draft is tonight at 8, and I can't wait to outdraft Lino tonight and shit on his team, because he's pretty bad at fantasy. I ripped him off in a trade 2 weeks ago because he's Cowboys homer, and everyone listening knows that Lino lost that trade. Thanks for the question, though, buddy.
Buddy, wow.
Luke Martirana.
Call him Buddy.
Yeah, Buddy. That's
Wow.
He's going to like that when we see him on Saturday.
Luke Martirana asks, T or Devonta Smith?
Ah, that's such a good question.
That's a good question. I'm leaning Devontae Smith. A lot of the reason is the fact that we don't know with Joe Burrow's calf if it's going to linger all year, if he'll miss any time, which it sounds like he'll be ready for week 1. And also the fact that T. Higgins, while he has such explosive games, he is a guy who I think last year he probably only missed like 3 or 4 games, but there were 2 times last year where he was active and then got 0 points because he came off the field with injuries. So he was he's just so like injury prone, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, he's good to go, and then he was on a snap count. And also the fact that like he'll never truly be the number 1 there. And Tyler Boyd's a pretty good number 3 versus Philadelphia. They don't really have that dominant number 3. Like Quez Watkins is not what Tyler Boyd is. So, but granted, Cincinnati doesn't have the tight end like Goddard, but with how explosive the Eagles' offense was last year and how good Devontae Smith was in college, but also in the NFL, I lean Devontae Smith.
I hate to agree with you just for argument's sake, but yeah, I'd lead Devontae Smith as well. I just think his route running is matchup proof, and what he did down the stretch last year, he actually outproduced A.J. Brown towards the end of last season, and everyone just thinks of A.J. Brown as the number 1, but it was A.J. Brown was the number 1 for like weeks 1 through 10, and then after that, Devontae Smith kind of took that role and got more targets, and he was phenomenal. I love T. Higgins as well. I just think, and they're neck and neck. You could pick your poison.
Yeah.
But I like Devontae Smith as well.
Yeah, plus, like, if somehow you land up with A.J. Brown, then obviously you're not taking Devontae Smith. Or if you get Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is there, you're not going to take them. So that also factors in. If somehow you land the number 1s on their teams, you're not going to take the number 2 on the team.
Yeah, and they're probably going to be wide receiver 2s on your team, and they're not wide receiver 2s on their actual football teams, but they're wide receiver 1s on most football teams.
But yeah, definitely, like, if you're in that spot and you get Jamar Chase, do not take T. Higgins. And if
you don't want to have both.
If you get A.J. Brown, do not take Devontae Smith. It's just not a good strategy. I have no problem if you have one of those wide receivers taking Burrow to package with him, or Devontae Smith,
Jalen Hurts if you're taking a star receiver early, it's a good strategy to stack up with that quarterback later. So if you take Chase in round 1,
it's a little bit harder.
Quarterbacks on the board, you might want to take Burrow.
Yeah, it's a hard strategy to do with Hurts, but it's very doable with Burrow with those receivers.
Yeah,
because Hurts just goes so early.
Hurts does go early.
He's around the same spot as Brown and Smith.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But yeah, so what do we got next?
All right, our last question is from Ryan. He
Lou.
asks, what is my path to victory this season in our Dynasty League?
Ryan, I'll keep this one short and sweet. There is no path to victory, my friend. You're screwed, and you trade away your first-round pick, so better luck next year.
Ryan, I will say that an easy path to victory is never ask your league mates what they think of the trade. Never ask them for advice. At the end of the day, they're the competition. They're going to try to trick you. I know Colin, he's a snake. You might ask him for advice on the trade, but he's going to be always looking out for his best interest.
That's out of pocket, dude.
So if he's like, oh, I think that trade's good, it's going to benefit him in some way if he's saying it's good for you. So trust nobody. The only people you want to trust is people outside of the league. So if you have any questions, Ryan, I am happy to help you out to take down Colin.
Good question, though, Ryan.
All right, so that's all the questions you had, Joe?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so we'll be back after a short break, and we'll get into quarterbacks.
Hey everyone, it's Colin from Around the Felt. Hope you're enjoying the Fantasy Football Special. Make sure you check out our previous 4 episodes wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow us on all socials. Appreciate the support. Keep sending questions. Now let's get back to the episode. Welcome back. We're going to jump right into the quarterback position. Now, the way we're going to do this, we're going to give you a guy that we think is a steal based on their average draft position, a do not draft player, my guy, the guy you're going to vouch for, and a sleeper. Mm-hmm. So we'll start with quarterbacks. My steal is Trevor Lawrence. He is going way too late, and I looked at the ESPN projections, and they actually have him being worse than last year, less fantasy points than last year. And if you listen to our last episode, that makes absolutely no sense considering how good Lawrence was down the stretch and how much he struggled in the beginning of the season. Now, add in the fact that he's in year 2 with Doug Peterson, he's more comfortable with the offense. You give him Calvin Ridley. I just think it's insane to think he's going to score less fantasy points than last year.
Yeah, no, I'd say he's a steal for sure. And to me, seeing a guy like Justin Herbert going at 54 to Lawrence at 72, there's not really a big difference to me. So if I can get a guy that I think could put up similar production with also just as many good weapons and
100%. Give me
that good receiving
Lawrence
back
2 rounds later.
2 rounds later, yeah. So I think I agree that's a steal. I mean, for me, I'd still rather target a guy with a rushing upside. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lawrence can run, but he's no like Justin Fields, who's my steal. And the reason I have Justin Fields as a steal is he's going 52.2, but the fact that like guys like Burrow and Lamar Jackson are going 20 picks almost before him, and Burrow, I don't even understand how he could be going that far ahead of him, because Burrow does not have the rushing upside Justin Fields does, and I think Fields is going to become a better passer this year, obviously due to the fact that they went out and got DJ Moore, who is, I'd say, probably a top 20 receiver, maybe top 30. I mean, he's probably the best.
He's definitely a wide receiver 1. He's definitely a top 32 receiver in the league. I don't know if he's top 20. We'd have to go through it.
Still, I mean, the fact that he went out and got DJ Moore after having Cole Kmet as his best weapon for the first 2 years is huge, and I think that'll help Matt a lot. And obviously, Darnell Mooney's still there too, so I think he'll become a better passer. And yeah, I mean, he still can run the ball well. I mean, and to me, if you can get him 20 picks after Lamar Jackson, who's had injury concerns the past 2 years, it's a steal to me. I mean, a guy who could end as the quarterback 1 in the 4th, 5th round is pretty good value.
I don't think he'll be quarterback 1. I mean, but I do like his value.
Could you see him being quarterback 1 though?
No, he won't be quarterback 1. He doesn't have the passing upside. I mean, I still don't trust his arm, but I do think you're right. That's a good position to take him at, especially considering the fact that he ran for 1,000 yards last year, and you give him a true wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
So I certainly see where you're coming from, and I have a lot of love for Justin Fields because he won me my league last year. I had Joe Burrow, traded him to get Terry McLaurin and another player, and then I started Fields the rest of the way, and then I didn't lose the rest of the way. So a lot of love for Justin Fields, especially fantasy-wise. I love him a lot more in the fantasy world than the real world, but I do think that's a good spot to take him.
Yeah. Now, my do not draft guy is Joe Burrow, who I highlighted a little bit before. He's going at 36.3. Obviously, is a calf risk injury. But on top of that, to me, to take a guy that early with pretty much limited to no rushing upside is always risky. And I just feel like at 36, like when you're drafting a guy, you're drafting him to be the QB1. And I just don't think he ever can be that QB1 because of that. So to me, if I'm drafting a guy in the late 3rd round, early 4th round, I want him to have a little more rushing upside. Because look at the guys going before him. It's either Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, all can run the ball, or Patrick Mahomes, who we've seen put up 50-plus touchdown seasons before.
That's fair. I mean, I'm a big Joe Burrow guy. I have Joe Burrow in our Dynasty League.
No, it's not even that I'm saying he's bad for fantasy. It's just like if I'm going to take a guy there, I kind of want him to have a little more upside. I think
fair.
he's locked
36 is risky considering.
I think he's locked in as like a top 10 fantasy quarterback, probably top 5, but
he's definitely top 5. He was quarterback 4 last year, and he didn't have Chase the full season.
So even if he's locked in at top 5, it's just more so if I'm taking a guy there, I want them to potentially be the number 1 quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I want to look at. He was QB7 in 2021. He was QB4 last year, and Chase was hurt.
Which is fine. I'm not saying he's a bad fantasy quarterback.
But at 30, you're right. At 36,
if I'm taking a guy in the 3rd round, I want him to have the potential to be the number 1 fantasy quarterback, which I don't.
It is risky
with no running upside. I don't think he has the chance to be the quarterback 1. I would be like Justin Fields, if he can become a better passer, which is a big if. I can see him doing it. Joe Burrow's not going to become this insane runner, so you kind of know what Burrow is. He's a locked-in QB5, and if he falls to you in late 4th, early 5th, great pick. It's just burning a late 3rd on him. I just think there's so many other wide receivers and running backs I'd rather take there.
That's fair.
Or or even Mark Andrews if we're talking tight ends at that point.
I do like that point. It's not so much of a point where don't take Joe Burrow no matter what. It's just at that position. At 36, there's just a lot of value left in the quarterback. We just talked about Trevor Lawrence at 72. That's a huge discrepancy.
Trevor Lawrence could totally finish with similar numbers to me.
Yeah, so I think that's a good point, even though I love Joe Burrow. My do not is Deshaun Watson. I just think it's a big risk, man. If you're committing Deshaun Watson as your QB1, you better have a good backup option, a guy like Rodgers or Daniel Jones or you know what I'm talking about. Kind of another guy that's a fringe QB1 in fantasy-wise or a guy with rushing upside. Yeah, I just think it's really risky because we haven't seen him play good ball in 2 years.
Plus, he's going at 880 right now, so it's a late 7th round pick. I think there's still other value there. I think at that point, you have maybe 2-3 running backs, 2-3 wide receivers. I'd rather take and try to adjust the tight end at that point, or go out and get one of those running back handcuffs or guys that could potentially take up a role. I think there's a lot of wide receiver depth still. I mean, at that point, there's still. I'll just list off some of the names that according to the ADP should still be on the board there. Like, I don't know. I mean, Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, George Pickens, Tyler Lockett, Marquise Brown, like
Ayuk.
Christian Kirk, Michael Pittman. Like, there's still a lot of big names out there that I'd rather take than take the risk on Watson. Like, yeah, there's a chance Watson could go back to Houston Texans for him, but that's
and if
a
he
risk
does,
I don't wanna take.
I guess he could be a league winner if you take him pick 95 and he's back to leading league in passing yards. He was in Houston. Could be a league. I just don't see that
It's just
happening.
that 80s.
He was so bad last year. Who knows how he's going to be this year?
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, his mental psyche might be a little off with everything that went on. I just think it's risky, you know. Even though there's a good offensive line in front of him, I like Amari Cooper. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is a solid receiver. I like Elijah Moore in that offense a lot. Like, he's got the weapons. He's got the offensive line. He's got the running game. I don't know if I believe in him to fully invest in him as my QB1 and think that I can win a championship with him this year.
Yeah. So, the guy I'm super high on, I'm calling my shot on. If he's there at his ADP, I'm taking him. It's Jalen Hurts. I know.
Whoa, that's a really bold choice.
It is a bold choice, but after
QB1 last year, my guy.
No, but I'm saying, like, it's my guy for the ADP. Like, at 20, to me, to take a late second rounder on him, I'm fine. Like, yeah, Mahomes might be better for fantasy. We'll see how it shakes out, or Josh Allen, but
I think Hurts would be one. Probably.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, would you rather take Mahomes in the early second or Hurts in the late second? I'd rather take the guy in the late second.
Because Hurts
has the rushing upside.
10-plus rushing touchdowns in previous 2 years.
You know what the NFL didn't address? The play where the Eagles, they'll do a QB sneak, and then they'll have the tight end and the running back come push him in.
Yep.
They didn't ban that, so I'm saying Hurts is going to have double-digit rushing touchdowns again because they're going to run that play 5 or 6 times, and he's going to get a bunch of touchdowns.
And like we mentioned in the NFC East episode, Reagan, he's the only quarterback in NFL history to have double-digit rushing touchdowns in back-to-back seasons.
Yep. And on top of that, most leagues, at least all the leagues I play in, rushing touchdowns are worth 6 versus passing touchdowns, which are worth 4. So therefore, if he's getting 10 rushing touchdowns, that's an extra 20 points you'd be getting.
You're not a math major, it's fine.
No, I'm not a finance guy like him, but that's an extra.
If we get your point, Reagan,
that's an extra 20 points you're getting just because this guy's running it in.
It also helps that he has the best offensive line in football in front of him, and 2 number 1 wide receivers out there, and
they just went out and got him 2 running backs, 2 dynamic running backs.
I mean, I think if I'm taking any quarterback this year, Hurts actually is my number 1 fantasy quarterback over Mahomes. I know how crazy that sounds. Mahomes is going to be top 2 lock, but I think Hurts has a higher ceiling.
So you're big on it. So Hurts is kind of your big guy too. Or
no, he's not. He's not my guy because I won't sit there and say QB1 is my guy. But my guy, if you listen to the AFC North episode, Lamar Jackson, best weapons he's ever had in his career. Phenomenal, top 5 offensive line in front of him. New system. He seems rejuvenated with the contract that's out of the way. I love Mark Andrews. I think Zay Flowers will be solid now. I mean, from what I'm seeing in camp, should be good. Odell, we'll see what he's got left in the tank, but still, he's better than anything they had last year. Hopefully, Bateman gives him something. Yeah, I don't know. They still got the running game. If he's healthy,
he
can be QB1. Because his points per game last season, he didn't play the full season, but his points per game of all quarterbacks was number 1 before he got hurt.
No, I will say
at that point in the season, he was averaging 25.9 points per game.
I don't hate it. I mean, I see what you're saying. It's basically a more risky Hurts.
It is,
but
yes.
And you get him around later because he's going mid third instead of late. He's going mid to late third versus late second. So it's less capital put in, but it's a lot more risky. And
he is definitely more
I don't
risky
hate the pick. Like, if he's there and it's good value, I'll take him as well. But definitely, like, burning a 3rd-round pick on a guy who hasn't been able to stay healthy the past 2 years makes me nervous.
100%.
But when he's healthy, I know, when he's healthy, he's a league winner. And at that value, it's like, hey, if I can get a guy that could be better than Jalen Hurts around later, yeah, of course.
If he's fully healthy, he can be a QB1 any season.
So
that's my guy.
I want to highlight my sleeper quarterback, Kyler Murray. He's going all the way at 167.1. That's not yuck at all, dude. He has been one of the best fantasy quarterbacks when healthy.
He was terrible last year, and their team got worse, and he's coming off a bum knee.
I don't care, dude. I don't care. Dude, you know what 167.2 is? That is like the last pick in your draft. All you got to do is take him with the last pick in your draft. Say, here's my strategy. If you decide to punt the quarterback position, say you go with a guy late in drafts, like a Russell Wilson, a Jared Goff, a Kirk Cousins.
I mean, if I took Deshaun Watson, maybe I'd take Kyler Murray later.
That's what I'm trying to explain. you can throw him on the IR spot, because most leagues, I'd imagine, that you're in have the IR spot. You take him with your last pick, you throw him in your IR spot, you hold him, then when he's back and healthy, you have a guy who has top 5 fantasy quarterback upside. We've seen him finish as a top 5 fantasy guy. He's one of the better running quarterbacks. Yeah, I know he's coming off the injury, so we don't know how he's going to come back. But, I mean, if you're only burning a last-round pick on him, or maybe he doesn't even get drafted, pick him up, put him on your IR spot, take the risk. I'd much rather have Kyler Murray than Jared Goff or Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins for fantasy. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying he's a sleeper. He's a deep sleeper. I think it's worth the risk. What's the risk? Taking him at your last pick or scooping him off waivers and throwing him on your IR? That's not really a big risk.
Yeah, I mean, he's been QB 6, 3, 10, and 19
Yeah,
when healthy.
exactly.
But that's also when he had a legitimate offense around him. I don't know.
I don't think
mean,
the
we
rushing...
also don't even know if he'll play this year because he could be healthy when the Cardinals are 0-7, 0-8, and then what are they going to do? Throw Kyler Murray in when he's with a bum knee? They might as well punt the season and get
I understand that,
Caleb Williams number 1 overall.
in that scenario, it's not a big deal because all you did was burn the last pick in your draft or no pick on him.
I mean, I understand this.
Just try to scoop him up.
I understand.
Like, I'm sure a lot of you are in leagues where a lot of people are going to let him go to undrafted because they're going to see, he's going to miss some time.
I don't think he'll go undrafted, but
if you have that strategy and you punt the quarterback position, I think he's worth a late round flyer because of that upside. Like he said, he's finished as high as quarterback 3 before. I mean,
but if you take him, you almost
if Call of Duty drops mid-season.
That's true. Yeah, if Call of Duty drops mid-season, you might not be getting a good start.
Well, yeah, he might not come back until Call of Duty's already out, and then all of his values.
I mean, his focus won't be on football at that point.
But trust me, guys, like if you punt the quarterback position and you can scoop him up late, it's worth the risk.
My sleeper is Anthony Richardson for basically the same reason that Reagan highlighted for Justin Fields. Fields was the most sacked quarterback in the league last year. He was running for his life. He had no legitimate weapons, but he was an elite rusher. He runs like a 4.4, similar to Anthony Richardson, and he ran for 1,000 yards. I think Richardson, even with a shaky offensive line in front of him, hopefully Jonathan Taylor's there to hold some linebackers. But I think even if he doesn't have the passing upside, similar to Fields, his pure rushing ability, he could run for close to 1,000 yards, not over 1,000 yards.
I'm not a big fan of that only because most of these rushing quarterbacks we don't see have a big impact in year 1 for fantasy. Think about it. Lamar Jackson took the step year 2. Jalen Hurts took the step year 2. Justin Fields took the step year 2. You couldn't play these guys in their rookie year. We all knew they could run the ball, but they couldn't do it. They weren't good for fantasy their first year.
Yeah, because none of them started the season as the starter. They all didn't. They all started as backups.
What does that matter? Look at the average points per game. None of them were startable.
You can't talk about them if they're fantasy if they didn't even start the season as a starting.
What does that matter? Well, I'm not talking about where. I'm not talking.
Richardson's a starting quarterback,
dude. I'm not talking about where. I'm not talking about where they finished at the year. I was talking about their average points per game. None of them were weekly startable. You couldn't start them at any point.
Because they weren't even starting for their own team yet until way late in the season. At that
and you
point,
couldn't play them.
Well, Richardson's starting.
Maybe there's
day 1.
Yes,
week 1. So it's
we'll see what
happens.
Okay, we'll see
it's
what happens.
It's different than those guys.
All right, so you're banking on the fact that he comes around.
All I'm
saying is with Richardson.
I'm just saying I'm taking him like QB2.
Okay, as long as you're telling people to take him as your QB2.
Like, I won a league last year because I had Fields as my QB2 as a shot in the dark, and then his rushing upside.
If you want to take the shot on Richardson,
I was able to trade Burrow. That's what I'm saying. Make sure QB2 could win you a league.
If you're drafting Richardson, make sure he's your backup quarterback and you're stashing him on the bench.
100%. He's not your starter. He's not your starter.
You should not start him until he proves he's startable.
If you're a one-quarterback league, take him as your QB2 if he's there.
And I think there's a good chance in a lot of these leagues that you'll see him on waivers after a couple weeks because I don't think he's going to do much to start out.
You're the biggest Anthony Richardson hater.
I'm not really a hater, dude. It's just like I'm not sold. How can I be sold on a guy like this? Like we just don't see these rookie quarterbacks going nuts for fantasy that can run the ball. We'll see what happens, dude. Also, if Jonathan Taylor's not there, that doesn't make me any more confident.
Wait for him to run for 100 yards week 1.
With who?
Cam Newton.
Oh.
Cam Newton's a little bit different. He was a little more physical of a freak.
Get shit on.
Is Anthony Richardson not?
Anthony Richardson's the most athletic quarterback to ever enter the league, bro.
You think they're going to use him like they use Cam Newton?
He's the most athletic quarterback to ever enter the league. 100%. No
more
doubt.
athletic than Cam Newton.
Yes, we talked about his combines. That's the last fucking podcast. He ran a 4.43, which is the second fastest adjusted for size.
So you're expecting a Cam Newton arc
He's literally
fantasy season.
6'5".
So is that what you're comparing him to for the people? You think he's gonna have a Cam Newton?
I never said that.
I'm asking. No, I'm
saying athletically, he is more athletic.
I mean, is that what you're hoping for with him as a Cam Newton type rookie?
I mean, I think that's his ceiling. I think his floor is like you said, unstartable. That's his floor. But his ceiling, I mean, he's a polarizing prospect.
So you think his ceiling is
His ceiling's-
rookie Cam Newton?
That's a fair? Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
It's a good player count.
That's fair. I like that, Joe. Good player count. Way to prove my point for me. All right, running backs.
All right. So I'll go. I'll start out with mine. Mine's a steal at this ADP. It's Javonte Williams going at 98.5.
Yeah, this was
super late. I know
One of
you
my
wanted to
guys,
say
yeah.
him too,
Yeah.
so
it's a really good one.
we're both in agreement on here. I mean, obviously this guy's been a beast when healthy for fantasy. He is the number one guy there. Yeah, I know he's coming off the injury, obviously, and it was a big injury, and there's questions if he'll even be ready for the season. But I mean, even if he misses 3 to 4 games, which is possible, he might
I think
miss
he's
a couple
back.
games.
I think he's playing in the preseason this weekend.
Yeah, so which is even better.
Yeah,
I mean, if he misses
I think he's getting reps this weekend, the preseason.
Which is even better. I mean, right now, like I said, right now he's the 30th running back off the board.
That's
So-
crazy.
I mean, and who is he splitting time with? Samaje Perine. Like he's more of, like we saw
He's the
Joe.
third down back.
Yeah, and we saw Joe Mixon have him in the backfield and still be one of the top 15 fantasy running back, I'd say.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really worry me much, and I think this offense is going to be much improved, obviously, with a new coaching regime coming in. So, yeah,
I love it. Off the top of my head, I know that Javonte Williams led the NFL in broken tackles as a rookie, and that was with splitting carries with Melvin Gordon in that offense. And they didn't necessarily have a good offensive line either, so I really liked him as a rookie. Unfortunately, torn ACL last year. Sean Payton is one of the best offensive lines in football. He's going to have a good role for Javonte, so I love that pick. If you're getting Javonte Williams, your RB3, even your RB4, I mean,
Yeah.
you're loaded at the position.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, even
I like that a lot. If you load up on receiver early, I would take, and you got Javonte Williams, your RB2, but your receivers are someone like Tyreek Hill and Devontae Smith or T. Higgins, something like that, then
Yeah.
I still think that's a great way to build your team.
And I mean, in the 4 games he played last year, he had over 60 touches in 4 games. I mean, he was getting over 15 touches a game last year.
and that was in a bad offense.
He had 16 catches in those 4 games. Like that's
good. You love to see that
We're
PPR
talking
upside.
half point PPR. I mean, that's an extra 8 points just off of catches in those 4 games. So,
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, he had almost 300 yards on 60 touches. So I mean, he was getting the volume before he went down. So to me, I just think that's such a steal.
Yeah,
To get that kind of volume.
I love
mean,
it.
there's really no indication that he's not going to get similar volume. I mean, even if he's down to like 10 to 12 touches, I still think that's great value at that point. And I think he's going to get a lot of the red zone work.
Yeah, I absolutely love
So-
that pick. My second guy, because that was going to be my first guy, James Cook. Apparently, he's taken over the backfield in Buffalo. Last year, when he did get the touches, he was explosive. I think he averaged over 5 yards per carry. We know he has that receiving background. That's why Buffalo took him. I just think in this offense, I do love this Bills offense. That's why I highlighted Kincaid earlier.
Yes.
James, there's so many touches that need to be claimed outside of Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis didn't take the bull by the horns last year. I just think Josh Allen is dying to find more people to make plays. And the way Cook looked, like he just burst through the hole. He's so explosive.
You're not worried about the signing of Damian Harris coming in?
No.
I mean, obviously Nyheim Hines is done there.
I mean, there's going to be touches to go around, but I still think James Cook, fully healthy, is the RB1. He's getting 15 to 20 touches a game,
Yeah.
and he's a great receiving back.
Plus-
I think at ADP, 82.5, if I can get him at RB as my RB3 or 4, similar to Javonte Williams, similar range, that's a phenomenal value. I love it.
Yeah. The only thing
I
that
love it.
sucks with that, like, it is great value, honestly. The only thing that sucks with that whole backfield is the fact that when it comes to goal line work, Josh Allen's just the RB1 in
That is true.
thing.
Josh Allen will
And-
run QB power and snake some touchdowns, but
And I don't even think James Cook will be on the field anyway because Damian Harris has nose for the end zone. But the good thing is Damian Harris has no pass-catching ability, so I think James Cook will get all the third down work. And with Nyheim Hines gone as well, that's even less competition. So I think James Cook will probably get 5 to 6 targets hopefully a game. And if he's getting 5 to 6 targets and getting potentially 10 carries, I think that's a pretty good value. I just don't think he's going to get a lot of goal line work.
I mean, dude, we'll talk about a couple of these guys coming up, but Dameon Pierce at 51.9 ADP and Rashad White at 59.3. I'd rather take James Cook over both of them.
I mean, I like
James
White.
Cook's ADP is 82.5. I love Cook in that offense. It's all about
I like
scoring
White.
points and more high powered. We talked about the Bucs. Their offensive line is
Yeah.
terrible. Their quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask. Like, White only had decent fantasy outings last year because Brady would just throw so many
But
checkdowns.
the thing with White is there's nobody else there. Like, so I have a little
Yeah,
bit
but I
more
don't think
confidence
Damian
from-
Harris is much of a threat to James Cook either.
I mean, I just think he's going to get all the goal line work.
And also, White just wasn't efficient. He was one of the worst backs of the league in yards per carry and yards after contact.
But it doesn't really efficiency. To me, efficiency doesn't matter. It's more touches because it is fantasy. So you could be super inefficient, and all it takes is for him to fall in the end zone.
White didn't even average 4 yards per carry last year. Like that's got to matter. I mean, if you're doing PPR,
he was
because he had a lot of check.
He has PPR upside. I mean, we'll see. I will see because I mean, obviously, we don't know what Baker's going to. We don't know what Baker and Trask are going to do with the running backs. Are they going to be like Brady and checking it down a lot? Or are they going to just throw it away or try to run?
James Cook 22 rounds later. Any day of the
you're
week.
Not wrong. Yeah.
Any day of the week.
You're not wrong. I mean, speaking more on Dameon Pierce, he's my guy. Do not draft. We highlighted a lot. His ADP is right around pick 52. The reason I'm kind of not high on him is the fact that they went out and got Devin Singletary. It kind of showed you that, like, hey, they're still not fully confident in this guy who was pretty decent last year. I mean, I didn't think he was bad. It's
we talked about the last pod.
It's just more so that the Texans went out and got a lot of weapons. Combined with that, they just got a rookie quarterback, so we don't know how he's going to be. But, I mean, they went out and got Dalton Schultz. They drafted a wide receiver, Tank Dell. They got Singletary. So they brought in a lot of new mouths, and it's a new regime, so it's not like Dameon Pierce is their guy. So there's a lot of factors here that make me not love him at 52.5. I think there's just a lot more safer options. I mean, even White, who we were talking about, I'd much rather have White than Pierce. There's a lot of guys. I mean, honestly, I feel a lot more confident in Cook. Miles Sanders, I'd much rather have. I'd rather have Kamara even being suspended the 3 games. I mean, Breece Hall is going 52.8, and even with Dalvin Cook not there, I'd rather him. So there's just so many guys that are going after him that I feel so much more confident in.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that one. We talked about the Texans in the last pod. Dameon Pierce got off to a hot start. He was like top 5 in the league in rushing yards, but he doesn't add PPR value.
Yeah,
the offensive line wasn't great for him in terms of run blocking and opening
running
up
back
lanes.
16. I mean, that's.
And he was.
I don't see him finishing that high.
I also don't think that offense scores a lot of points. So if you're taking a running back that doesn't have PPR value, you better hope they score. I mean, that's. Derrick Henry was so good for so long because he was their goal line guy, and the Titans would score touchdowns. And Derrick Henry would be the guy scoring the touchdowns. How many touchdowns do we expect this Houston offense to score this year? I don't think many with a rookie quarterback, and he doesn't add much in PPR, so I'm not touching Pierce unless he's staring me in the face at pick 75 and he was supposed to go 55th.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So I agree. Mine is Aaron Jones.
All right.
ADP 36.2, standard kind of 12-man league. That's the last pick in the 3rd round. I don't know, man. With Rodgers gone, and he would love to throw the ball to Aaron Jones in the flats, on angle routes. I don't know if Jordan Love is going to have that same ability. He's going to want to check down as much, if he's going to make those decisions. A.J. Dillon is always there as a threat to snake those goal line touches, even though Dillon was not very good last year. I think Aaron Jones is getting up there in age. I believe he's 27 or 28. I just think he's past his prime. If you're taking him at the end of the 3rd round, that's not good. At that position, I'm not touching him. I mean, I'd take him in the 50s or 60s, but no way at pick 36.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can see the point there. I mean, I still don't hate it at 36 just because of what we've seen him be, but I get the whole, like, risks there. Obviously, A.J. Dillon, I think, will be more involved. He's a younger back, a lot fresher. We don't know what it's going to look like with Jordan Love because Rodgers loved targeting Aaron Jones. We don't know if Love's going to treat him like that good receiving back he is, but I think that you can go a lot worse. I mean, early 4th, late 3rd.
It's just tough because if you don't go running back early and like Aaron Jones is your RB2, I don't love that. I think he's going to be around
RB2. I don't hate it.
I think he's going to be.
I don't love it as your RB1.
He's a low end RB2 though, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I don't know. I get the risks there. I
think if you're taking Aaron Jones, you're like, oh shit, like I need a running back.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
and then you're in trouble.
I don't know.
At that spot, that's.
I think I'd rather like Najee or Ramondre or even the risk on Gibbs at that point. But
100%. Give me all 3 of those guys over Aaron Jones for this year. I think his best years are behind him.
We'll see though. I mean, if the value's there and you're in like, if you got no running backs at that point, like you could do worse. But I get it. There's a lot of risks there, and we're kind of just. You can't expect the same Aaron Jones because it's just the age and all the changes in Green Bay. But speaking of Najee, a guy I'd rather have, he's actually my guy. He's the guy I'm super high on, as you guys know.
This. You apparently think he can lead the league in rushing.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think the fact that he's healthy, combined with the fact that this offense is going to be much improved, and the way we're seeing the running back market go, a lot of these teams are kind of just feeding the crap out of their running backs when they get later in their contract. They don't want to pay them, and they want to get their money's worth. I think Najee could be a guy that gets 300 touches this year. And to me, I mean, if you can get that in the late third, early fourth, that's
You
pretty
think he gets
good.
300 touches.
I think so. I think he could.
Okay, so if he's getting 300 touches, the lead in rushing, he probably has to average over 5 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Okay, and he hasn't averaged over 4 yards per carry yet in his career.
Yeah, but he's healthy.
And
hey,
he has a quarterback that
Hey,
had
look,
more interceptions and touchdowns
was-
last year.
Hey,
So
do you know what a hot
what do you
take
think
is?
defenses are going to
Hey,
do?
did I say this is a locked
What
and
do you
loaded
think
take?
defense are going to
The
do?
way you're doing
Let's load the box.
the
stop
definition
run, and make this
of a hot
quarterback
take.
beat us.
Do you know what the hell the definition of a hot take
No, I
is?
just shit on
what do
your
you
guy.
think? Oh,
That's
you
what I
shit on
just
my
did. I just
hot
shit on
take.
your guy. That's not a
Oh.
hot take.
It's
I
not
just
a
shit
hot
on your
take.
guy.
It just gives you some facts.
No, it is.
I just said
it
a
is
hot take. It's not like I'm like,
I
you
just
want to hear a
wrote it down.
lock? Najee Harris
Yeah.
in the league in rushing. It's a hot take. I know it's not a good take. It's a hot take.
Yeah, I just took
it's
the
a
fire,
spicy
I
take.
just took the fire extinguisher. That
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, here's a hot take. A team that's plus 200 is going to make the playoffs. I gave you a hot take, all right?
Okay.
Plus
My hot
2,500.
take was Lamar winning MVP.
That ain't no plus 2,500. That's like plus 1,200. And the guy's done it before.
Just because it's not as hot as yours, I mean.
All I'm
doesn't-
saying is mine's fucking spicy.
Okay, if your argument
It's
is
hotter
I
than
have
the
a spicy
Buffalo
take,
Wild
that
Wings
means
Blazing Challenge,
it's a
buddy.
fucking take that's not going to happen.
It's a hot take. You're like, that's
All right.
a terrible take.
My
Yeah, no
guys,
shit, it's a hot
I got
take.
two. I couldn't pick one.
You didn't even
Saquon Barkley.
Oh wow.
My
Oh,
guy.
why is that? Why is that? Because you're a Giants fan,
No,
Homer.
because he's absolutely phenomenal.
Hey.
When he's healthy, I mean, he was RB4 last year. People were sleeping on him. I just think he's still the focal point of the offense.
Yeah, people were
And
sleeping on him last
the Giants
year.
are trying to use him a lot more as a
Big
receiver, which I think can only raise his ceiling, especially if you're in PPR leagues.
Wow.
He's been.
You
he's
think
been
the
lining
first
up-
round? You think a guy going in the first round is going to have a good season? That's a.
I'm saying.
very
I'm
insightful.
just saying that's my guy because
He's your guy. Yeah.
yeah, that's my guy.
Okay. Yeah.
The question is, who's your guy? That's my guy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with.
And my second one is Bijan.
Another guy going in the first
Just to
round.
highlight one more time how much I dominated
You
you
give
in
me
that
shit-
Falcons
you give-
argument and how good Bijan's
Bro,
going to be.
you give me
He
shit
is
for
so
taking Najee as a my guy, but then you tell these people, yeah, guys, you should really go out and draft these guys in the first round. They're going to be really good. Super insightful. Yeah, my guy, you know who my guys
super
are?
insightful. You,
You know
said
who-
Jalen Hurts is
You
my
know-
quarterback.
Dude, at least he's going in the second round.
At least my guy's a rookie. I mean, your guy's
All right,
QB1
fine.
last
No.
year.
All right, I'm either gonna say McCaffrey or Eckler. I think they're gonna have a good year. I'm really confident. Like, dude, come on, dude.
Yeah,
At
my
least
guy,
pick a
Pat
later
Mahomes,
on.
Jalen Hurts, the two quarterbacks to the Super Bowl. Like, shut the fuck up. All right, who's your
Give me
sleeper?
shit for-
Who's
give
your
me shit
sleeper?
My sleeper's got to be Austin Eckler. Yeah, I think last year was like a lot of people slept on him and he finished as RB1, and I think this year he can do even better and
You're
finish as
literally
RB1.
arguing against yourself right now.
Yo,
picking
what are
the
we
QB1
arguing
last
against
year.
yourself, bro?
Dude,
Shut
if
up.
you have to copy someone's voice, that means you know you lost and you have nothing to say.
I wasn't copying your voice.
Okay. All right, I'll just go talk about my sleeper.
No,
then, since
all
you
right,
don't want
fine,
to, apparently.
fine, you ass clown.
My
My sleeper is Miles Sanders. He's currently going at
Yeah.
65. I think the fact that he had his career best year last year with the Eagles, I know they have a great offensive line, but the fact that Carolina traded McCaffrey, let Foreman walk after he had a ton of success behind that offensive line, bodes well for Sanders. And the fact that they went out and paid him and wanted him. He's only 26 years old and really doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires. I think he's just going to have a big workload, and the fact that it's with a rookie quarterback, they're not going to want to put it all on Bryce Young's shoulders. They're going to want to run the ball, make him feel comfortable, open up a lot of things. And I think he proved last year he can be a 3-down back. So I think he's going to get a lot of touches, and I think at 65, that's a pretty good value.
I don't hate it. I don't love it. He's all right. I mean,
it's a
I don't
sleeper
want-
in fairness.
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm
But
not.
at that
It's
point-
not like I'm saying Austin Eckler.
I mean, last year was his best season by far, and we touched on the Eagles and how he actually was pretty explosive.
Yeah. I mean, granted that offensive line is good, but
It's
Carolina's
really good, but
offensive line was
able to,
good
He was
too.
able to make a lot out of it, though. It's not like he
Yeah.
got what they gave him. He was able to get more.
Yeah.
And he was really good at Penn State. He was good early in his career, so I don't hate it. We'll see. I mean, Carolina has a decent offensive line, nothing like Philly's, and maybe teams hone in on him early because Bryce Young is a rookie. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a good sleeper pick. I think he could be a good RB3 for your team.
Yeah.
Mine is-
I think he has RB2 upside though. To be honest.
If he's my RB2, I'm not winning. So.
If he's your RB2, that probably means you win a wide receiver strategy.
Well, that means you better be good at wide receiver and net flex. My sleeper is Khalil Herbert, ADP 118.3. Any opportunity that he had in Chicago to be the lead back when Montgomery was out, he showed what he can do. He's very explosive. He busted off a lot of big runs. I know Deontay Foreman's there, but
Yeah, I was going to ask, what do you think about Foreman being there? You're not worried about him?
I like Foreman. I mean, anywhere Foreman's gone, he's been productive. So I just think they complement each other well. They're different play styles. Foreman's more of a bruiser. Herbert's faster.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get a legit shot to get some big touches. And at 118.3, I mean, that's when you're just throwing darts. You're trying to throw darts and hope someone hits big for you, and you're like a potential league winner at that point. I think Herbert can do that, especially with Fields and his rushing upside. I think it opens things up for him. So at 118, potential league winner, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, so we'll be back with we're going to go to a quick break, and then we'll give you guys wide receiver, tight ends, kickers, defenses.
What's up, guys? Colin's dad here. If you're not following Around the Fell on Instagram, please do. If you like these graphics you see, follow my Instagram. Check out my portfolio. Hire me. Thank you.
All right, guys, welcome back in. That recaps the quarterbacks and running backs. It's time to get into the wide receivers. So, Colin, get us started. Who's your guy?
My steal is Christian Kirk, ADP 92.5. He was wide receiver 12 last year. I understand Calvin Ridley's there, but I think Ridley's taken more of those Zay Jones type of targets. Kirk still has a high role in this offense. Clearly, Lawrence elevated his game. They have a good chemistry. If you're wide receiver 12 last year, that's a wide receiver 1 in a 12-man league. At 92.5, that's pretty crazy. I think he's going to be a solid wide receiver 2 this year. So if you can get him in round 7, I think that's great value.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what this offense is going to look like because it's not like we don't know what Calvin Ridley's going to look like.
But even if Ridley comes back, and I'm high on Ridley, but if he comes back and he's not what he was,
yeah,
Kirk's still that number 1 then.
Yeah, I'm just a little nervous. Just so many mouths to feed. But I mean, honestly, at the ADP, it is good value. It's not like he's going as. I think if Ridley didn't come there, he'd be going a lot earlier.
I would
obviously.
take him in the 60s, but 92.5. I mean,
but
come on.
yeah, the value's good. I mean, even with Evan Ingram being there, Zay Jones is still going to be there. ETN in the passing game. I mean, there's a lot of mouths to feed, but I think the Jaguars' offense is going to continue to take that next step forward. I think Lawrence has 30 to 40 touchdowns passing this year. I think he can easily have multiple relevant fantasy wide receivers. So I don't hate that at all. My steal was Brandon Ayuk.
This was my first option.
87.5. I think the value is great there.
So good. He was so good last year, man.
I think this offense, no matter who the quarterback is, it's kind of proven that it's quarterback proof. I mean, no matter who they throw back there, it seems like
the Kyle Shanahan offense just is beautiful for fantasy.
The only one that makes me a little nervous is Trey Lance, but it seems like he's third in line. So I think if it's either Darnold or Purdy.
I mean, Ayuk was wide receiver 15 last year, man.
Yeah,
and you can get him at 87.
I don't really understand that at all. Like why he's going at wide receiver 29. I mean, I'd much rather him at 29. Or I'm sorry, I'd much rather him at what is that, 87? So that's like late 7th. Yeah, that's 7th round versus taking Debo in the early 3rd or late 4th. Garrett's just peering in at us. Look at him.
I mean, come on. And he had 1,015 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Yeah,
last year. You can get him at pick 78.
Yeah, I think this offense is still going to be very high powered. I mean, are you telling me I'd much rather him than either the Tampa Bay wide receivers with the uncertainty there? I mean, Deontay Johnson isn't very flashy. Mike Williams, especially with them drafting Quentin Johnson. I mean,
Mike Williams will have weeks where he wins you the week and he'll have 200 yards.
So a lot of the guys going right around him. Mom, no. Okay, you're welcome. Okay. Sorry, that's my mom. You want to say hi? No?
He said I could come in.
Oh,
yeah, that's fine.
She doesn't want to say hi. But anyway, I think there's a lot of guys here that are going right around them that just really don't show a lot of value. So, yeah, I think it's great value there.
Yeah, I love the IU pick. Absolutely love it. My do not, I have 2 guys, Godwin, Evans, both round 70.
2 guys I said I would much rather have Ayuk. 2 guys who I said I'd rather have Ayuk over.
100%. We just don't know who their quarterback's going to be. I would not.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just did that wrong. I'd rather have Ayuk over those 2 guys.
I'm saying, do not touch either of these Bucs receivers. I know Evans, 8 years in the league, 1,000 yards every season. At some point, it's going to end. I think this could be the year. I hate to say it. We don't know if Baker or Kyle Trask are starting. Neither have a high ceiling. Let's be honest. They're both pretty... I mean, Baker's inaccurate. Kyle Trask, we don't know what he is.
I think that does bring up a good debate.
Which one would you rather have?
Yeah, for me, it's Mike Evans, just because the guy's had over 1,000 yards receiving every year in his career.
He's also more durable.
And I'm going to get a little more into Mike Evans soon. because he's my sleeper. But I'll cover that a little more. But I'll explain why. So I don't want to get too much into this. But yeah, I'd much rather Mike Evans.
I'm also taking Evans just for he's more durable. He's done
Yeah,
it
and I
over a
think
longer
half the
period of
reason
time.
Godwin was so good for fantasy was because Brady loves his slots. So,
Yeah.
but we'll see. But yeah, for me, my do not draft, and I just do not understand this at all. Jerry Jeudy, why is he going at 51?
I love this one too, man. We're on the same page here.
Why is he going early 5th? I mean, what has he proven?
I mean, he got picked in the first round 4 years ago and still
but I
hasn't
mean,
done
like,
anything.
what has he done in the league
Still
to
hasn't
prove
done
going there? I
anything.
mean, usually if they're going that early in the 5th, it's like, all right, this guy had a good rookie season where we think he'll take a good step, or he's done something. He has
Check
done
where he finished.
nothing.
He's done absolutely nothing. And I guess
I mean, granted, he's the best wide receiver there, and then maybe because Tim Patrick is out again, maybe that bumped him up a little bit. And with the Javonte Williams uncertainty, but and Cortland Sutton obviously is even worse. Like, yeah, I'd rather Jeudy than Sutton, but I don't know, man.
he was wide receiver 22 last year,
Still
but like, where is he? What's his ADP?
51.4, so he's an
That's-
early 5th rounder, and it's
For a low end wide receiver 2, I know maybe there's the upside with Sean Payton coming in. Same thing with Javonte.
last year just left
Russell
such a bad
Wilson,
taste in my
no
mouth.
offense.
I really don't want to take it. I mean, if there's
He's just
anyone,
risky, man.
I mean, there's some guys in the offense. Like I would take Greg Dulcich at tight end, but like, I don't know, man. I really do not like Jeudy.
I'll take Javonte Williams, but I'm staying away from these receivers,
Yeah.
especially because there's so much uncertainty with Russell Wilson coming back. I do
Yeah.
think Russell Wilson bounces back with Sean Payton, but you never know. And
Yeah.
Jeudy has never shown that he can be a legit guy for you, and I just think that's too early to take him. If you're telling me I can take him in the 70s or 80s, fine.
Yeah.
If he slides down the board, but yeah, I'm not taking him there either.
All right, so my guy, Garrett Wilson. Yeah, maybe I'm a little biased.
Oh,
He's Jet
okay.
fan
You want to
here.
shit on me for saying Saquon? You want to go Garrett Wilson?
What?
Wow.
I thought. Okay, well,
It's
how
not-
about you as an unbiased Jet fan? What do you think about this? You're never gonna live that down, buddy. But
That's so
yeah,
bad,
Garrett
man.
Wilson. I mean, at 20.4, I think he's just gonna keep skyrocketing up the boards. I mean, we saw him. I was watching it. Yeah, you're fine. You know, you're fine over there. He's just drinking some water. But I think Garrett Wilson. We just saw him in the ESPN mock draft go as early as 8. Which I think that's a little too rich. I wouldn't put him there at 8. That's too much for me for an unproven commodity. Like, yeah, I know he was good. He was the rookie of the year, but I mean, I'm an unbiased Jet fan, so I know that like at 8, you're banking on a guy
That's
who's
so
done
good.
it before.
We need to make T-shirts for that.
Yeah, no, I guess so. But I don't know. I mean, what we've seen Rodgers do with his wide receiver ones. I mean, Christian Watson was a beast last year towards the end of the year with him. Obviously,
He was.
Devontae Adams was insane
Oh
with him
wow!
throughout
Just
his
lead
career.
right into my point.
Jordy
It's
Nelson was
phenomenal.
insane with him throughout his career, so he's always had these guys be relevant. And I think Garrett Wilson might be the most talented wide receiver he's ever had. I mean, think about it. Devontae Adams was a second-round pick. I don't think Devontae Adams is half the player he is without Rodgers. So,
Wow. Nah, that's a hot take.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dude, I mean, think
Aaron
about it.
Rodgers said that Devontae Adams is the best player he's ever played with. So
but
I take it.
he
from,
hasn't played with Garrett
I take
Wilson
it
yet.
from his mouth.
Has he played with Garrett Wilson yet in the
You
end?
said he's not half.
Just wait,
player
dude. I mean,
without
the fact-
Rodgers. Rodgers played with
Just wait. Just
Charles
wait.
Woodson, Jordy Nelson,
Jay,
Greg Jennings,
just wait. Hey, just
David
wait, man.
I like
Bakhtiari.
McCall Hardman better.
Oh my goodness, bro! I
Just
mean,
wait, though. I mean,
that's a
dude,
crazy
the
take.
fact that Garrett Wilson had the season he had last year with the combination of 3 different quarterbacks throwing him the football.
I'm not hating on the Garrett Wilson take. I'm hating on you saying Devontae Adams isn't half the player without Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I think he made him who he
Saying
is.
he's
I
more
think you can make that
talented.
case for a lot of wide receivers.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, I don't know.
Devontae Adams.
I think it's all
awesome last year.
I mean,
situation.
Devontae Adams was
I think
also
we can
phenomenal
agree,
last
though.
year with
Yeah,
Derek
he was
Carr.
so
and a
good.
terrible
But I mean, that's
offense.
because he's already established.
He went off with freaking Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah,
Well, that's because he's established. I'm saying coming into it. When I'm saying my whole point is when these young wide receivers come into the league, half their career is decided by their quarterback play. A lot of these guys get stuck.
how do
with
you
back-
gauge that? Why are you saying half their career? I mean,
I'd
how
say-
do you measure that, dude?
I mean, I'd say a lot of quarterbacks do well, or a lot of wide
Okay,
receivers
so-
have a better path to success when they are placed with a veteran quarterback who's smart. Some of these wide receivers are drafted early and they don't get the best quarterback play, and I think that affects their career.
I mean, I guess.
Obviously,
A lot of it is
talent. A lot of it is talent, but situation is a big factor for me. And I think the fact that Garrett Wilson was able to do what he did last year with the inconsistency at quarterback play
I don't know.
bodes so much well for him this year with the consistency at quarterback
I
play.
kind of disagree. If you're
With
at,
what aspect?
at receiver, if you're a baller, you're a baller. Like, yeah, you might not have as many yards, but look at Terry McLaurin. The guy's been doing it. Doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. Like, if you're a baller at receiver, you can get open. You're going to get targets. So I would
Well, yeah,
say
he's-
I,
and he
I
was
think
a
you're a
baller.
little over exaggerating it, but I'm not hating on the Garrett Wilson argument. We're talking about that. Yeah, I agree. Garrett Wilson should be an absolute stud this season. Guy had 1,000 yards with Zach Wilson throwing the football and
Yeah.
Mike White and
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
Zach
why he's
Wilson
my
was-
guy because I mean, I think he has the top 5 wide receiver upside.
yeah, his
I
ceiling
mean-
cert. I think it's top 5. I think his
I mean,
ceiling's
I've
top
seen
5. I think
I've
his
seen
floor
people
is-
saying he can finish as the wide receiver 1. I still don't think he'll get to the Jettas
Nah, he won't
category.
be Jets.
But
just
I
think
mean,
there's too many
I
mouths to
wouldn't,
feed.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's top 5 at all. I mean,
I
there's-
mean, he's gonna
outside
be
of
a stud.
Jettas, I mean, I think you can make a case for him being the second best fantasy wide receiver.
Yeah, he's gonna be a
We'll
stud.
see. I mean, that's a lot of hype, and I don't know if he'll pass Chase, but
My guy's
Definitely
Amon-Ra.
thinking a big season.
Amon-Ra, St. Brown.
another guy, same.
Same type of trajectory. Young
Yep.
players that you project are only going to get better. I like targeting those guys that are 23, 24, about to
Yeah.
enter their prime, but they have the...
He's got one more
Historical
year under his
performance.
belt as well.
Yeah, I mean, the guy was picked in the 4th round. I've been following this guy since his high school days just because Equiminius St. Brown, his brother, played at Notre Dame. My brother, Zach, shout out Zach, Notre Dame fans. And
Shout out to you,
Amon-Ra-
Zach.
Amon-Ra was supposed to go to Notre Dame and then flipped to USC, and Zach was pissed, rightfully so. He was good at USC. Fell to the 4th round. I don't know why, because he was a 5-star recruit and very, very touted prospect. And my goodness, that streak that he went on the end of his rookie year was
Yeah.
unreal. He was a league
Mhm.
winner, and then everyone was like, okay, was that a fluke or not? And then last
Yeah.
year, he just was, I mean, he was phenomenal.
Yep.
The guy's going to get a ton of targets.
He's by far Jared Goff's favorite target.
By far, man. He's a PPR machine. So, like, I like him more in full point than half point, I'd say, but still.
Out of curiosity, so St. Brown's 20.1, Wilson's 20.2 on the ADP.
Yeah, they're literally right there.
neck and neck. Who would you rather have?
Oh, man.
Because I think that's a really good debate. I
That is
kind
a-
of want to put that poll up on the Instagram later on, just because they're right there,
I like
neck and
it.
neck.
No,
mean,
I like it.
Both guys have
Man.
proven that they're stars in this league, and I think that's a good debate. And they're probably on the 2 most hyped teams going into this offseason or upcoming season.
Dude, that's a really good question. I mean, they're literally 0.1 ADP away from each other. You
Yeah.
can't go wrong. I mean, I don't hate it. Why do I feel like I'm going to get stuck with this decision one of my drafts, and I'm going to think back to this
Yeah,
conversation?
no, I want to put this up on the Instagram and see what everyone else thinks. I mean, as the biased Jet fan and unbiased Jet fan, I'm taking Garrett Wilson, but I mean, I wouldn't be mad with St. Brown at all. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's good value on both of them because I think both of them have the potential to be a top 5 wide receiver at the position, even a top 3. I mean, outside of Jettas, I think both of those guys could end up being the wide receiver too.
Man. I'm going to go Amon-Ra. Just because I am worried about the Jets' offensive line if they don't protect Rodgers. I mean, he's close to 40 years old. Maybe there's an injury there. I don't know. I like the Lions' offensive line. We've already seen it with Amon-Ra be at that level.
I think this
do
could
think,
be.
but don't get me wrong. If you took Garrett Wilson, I still.
I think
buy
that'd be
it.
a fun bet for us to make on
Who's that-
this.
Who ranks higher?
Who ends
fantasy
up
wide
with
receiver?
half point PPR? Which one finishes? Well, do you want to do per game? Because then injuries always ruin bets.
Yeah, it's a tough bet to do.
No, because we're not like you're super confident on either side.
No,
but I do want to
I'm
put
not.
this poll up on the Instagram later on to see what everyone thinks.
Yeah, we'll
like,
do that.
Who would you rather have for fantasy?
But if you took Wilson, I wouldn't be mad. I do think Wilson might have a higher ceiling with Aaron Rodgers, but Amon-Ra is safer, and we've seen it.
I will say, yeah. Well, I agree with that. Wilson higher ceiling.
Amon-Ra is safer.
Yeah. All right.
Sleeper. Who do you got?
My sleeper is Mike Evans, who I wanted to highlight more.
Oh, that's
and
right.
the reason he's my sleeper is because he's going at the 70.1, but the fact that he's before Brady, he was still doing it. Like we said, like this is kind of going to your argument where like some guys.
Yeah,
can
but that
just
was
play with
Jameis
any tool.
slinging it around the yard. Yeah, Jameis threw a lot of picks. He didn't win games with him, but like the guy would throw
So-
for 5,000
and-
yards.
And I think we might see a similar team like we saw with the Jameis-led Bucks, where they're just slinging it around, trailing in games. And I don't know, man.
Yeah,
At
but
70.1, the guy's
I
gone for
disagree.
the guy's gone for 1,000 yards every year in his career. So I'm just gonna go on the side of history, and it's like I don't know what is that. That's the late 6th, early 7th round he's going in for a guy who's been productive. I mean,
Yeah, but he's probably your wide receiver 3.
which isn't that bad.
Which it depends how you build your team. Maybe
And the way Mike
maybe
Evans
wide receiver
plays-
2.
The way we've seen Mike Evans play is he's one of those guys that every year he always has like some huge games. So I think,
He does. He'll go off and have like 3 touchdowns in a game, and then he'll go 3
Yeah.
weeks and
well, this is a sleeper at the end of the day. I'm not saying
Yeah.
to draft him. I just
Yeah.
think at his value, I think he's going to surprise people. Like I think a lot of people are out on him because of Baker Mayfield, which is warranted. But I just kind of want to go off the history of the fact that he's produced every year of his career.
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I'm personally staying away from the Bucks, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, no, I mean that's not a bad approach. I mean, if you have no confidence in a team, it's stay away from him. But what about you? Who's your sleeper?
I got Christian Watson.
Huh.
ADP 59. He shows what he can do. He's a big play guy. Weeks 10 through 13 last year, he had 4 top 10 weeks. Anderson got in a good spot in our league because he won the whole thing because Christian Watson.
Mm-hmm.
He got off to a really slow start, but once it clicked, I mean, he was taking midfield routes for touchdowns, and he's a big deep threat. He's got wheels. He's got the frame. I think Jordan Love's going to lean on him a lot. If he's my wide receiver 3, I really like that. Again, targeting guys that are young, about to enter their primes. That's really what I'm looking for. Because you can hit big and they could be league winners.
Yeah, so, all right. I think we at a good spot with the wide receivers.
Yeah.
I'm down to move on to the tight ends. So for me, right off the bat, I think Mark Andrews is a huge steal at 32.7. The reason why, the difference between him and
Are you saying you love Lamar and the Ravens?
I'm not saying I love Lamar and the Ravens. I'm saying
okay.
I'm saying I like Mark Andrews at that value. I mean, the difference between him and Kelsey to me is it's big, but it's not big enough where it's like, hey, Kelsey's going at 6. So if I can get close to that production in the third
Can I
round,
talk about that?
what?
Kelsey, after your point, I want to talk about Kelsey.
And the fact that you can get him at 32.6, and to me, after the Kelsey Andrews, it's a huge gap. Like, Hawkinson, Waller, Kittle, Goddard, like those guys could potentially do it, but we know Andrews has done it year in, year out.
He's the only
with
one that
Jackson.
surpassed Kelsey.
And even without Jackson, he seemed to still get it done with Huntley. So, to me, I think at 32.6, it's a great value there. I think
do
that's
love
a steal.
Mark Andrews. I love
Because
Mark
I think
Andrews.
I would be fine with taking him in the second round, to be honest. I don't advise reaching for him, but if his ADP was at 24, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him.
So what do you want to say about Kelsey, though?
Let's talk about Kelsey. Man, are you taking him in the first round? Because it's crazy. Usually he's been going in the second round, but
At 6?
5 or 6
No.
overall? Is he the positional value?
I just don't think I can. I don't think I
taking
can take him at
Kelsey's-
5 or 6 now.
He's essentially a wide receiver 1 though, and you
I
get to
know.
plug that
I just
spot.
don't think I could take a tight end that. Like, I just feel like for there, I guess it depends how the board shakes out.
You taking Kelsey or Eckler?
Eckler.
Kelsey or Tyreek?
Oh, that I could. I think I might take Kelsey there, but that's also because I don't know. It's also like I don't know. That's a really good debate. Yeah, I guess it is more of a debate,
It's tough,
but
man.
I know.
Positional
I
value,
can
that's really what you
say.
gotta think about.
I can say with certainty, there's no way I'm taking Kelsey over Eckler.
Yeah, I wouldn't take
There's
Kelsey
no
over
way.
Eckler either, but Hill, I think I'd still go Hill, but I'm
I think
probably
you could
taking
debate that.
Kelsey over probably
Should definitely
anyone
be
else
first.
other than McCaffrey, Jefferson, Chase.
Oh yeah, no,
Kelsey
I'm
or
not
Cup?
debating he shouldn't be in the first
Kelsey or
round. I just
Cup?
don't know at 6.
Kelsey or Cup?
I'm still going Cup just because what Cup was just a
He's
year
the
ago
focal
with
point of that
Stafford.
offense. He's going to funnel
Yeah.
targets.
I mean,
but
dude,
also
he
that
was
offense is bad.
he was injured. I know, but he was so good
He's
just
still
one
so
year
good.
ago
He's
with
still so
Stafford.
good.
So it's to me,
Yeah.
it's like I think his peak is so much higher than Kelsey's.
It's just so tough taking a
Yeah.
tight end in the first round. It's just so unprecedented. My
Yeah.
steal is Kyle Pitts, ADP 71.6. Reagan and I have had our arguments on Pitts. I think if you're taking him that late, I mean, he's the only tight end as a rookie to have 1,000 yards
I guess for the upside,
since
I
Mike
can see it,
Ditka.
but
And they're going to line him up out wide. Yeah, I don't love the offense, but the kid was picked 4th overall. They clearly have a plan for him.
Yeah.
He's a absolute nightmare.
I don't know. There's
to
other
match
guys.
with.
I think I'd rather just wait on Ingram or like a Freiermuth type.
I just think Pitts' ceiling
But-
is so much higher than Freiermuth.
I mean, the
It's
fact
not
that him
even
and
close.
Goddard are neck
Like
and neck.
Freiermuth is a fucking security blanket where Pitts can be a legitimate vertical threat. So
Yeah,
I think
I don't know.
I think Pitts that late because think last year he was going in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's definitely
he
good
slid a lot
value.
because he was hurt and there was a bad year with Mariota. I just think at 70. It's a great value for a guy with that high of a ceiling with his draft pedigree and what he did in college.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I at that point, Goddard's going one pick before him. I'd rather Goddard there.
Yeah, Goddard,
but-
it's definitely the safer pick, I would say, but Pitts' ceiling is higher.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess it really depends on how your board shakes out. But my do not was Kincaid. I already highlighted that before, so I don't need to get into that
we
more.
already talked. We
So we
touched
talked
on
about
tight
our
ends. Yeah,
do
'cause
nots.
that's my sleeper. We talked about.
My
Can I
guy.
talk about my do not? Real quick.
I think you. I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say my.
Oh, because he was your guy. Yeah, I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
All right.
he was my sleeper. So, my do not is T.J. Hawkinson.
Really.
Going as tight end 3, I do not love it, man. I mean, I looked at his game log and he
I
had,
did see
he
that
had
too.
a
It's
couple
misleading.
games
It's
where
very
it's like,
misleading.
okay, T.J. Hawkinson, giant killer. I mean, we saw in the playoffs he went off, and then in the regular season he went off. He had a couple games where he put over 30 points, and then he'd go in 4 weeks in a row where he'd score less than 5. And I'm like, I don't know.
When you
And
have
now
two games where you almost score 40 points, it's pretty easy to finish as a tight end.
Yeah, and then you finish a tight end too, and it's like, okay, well, that's what most tight ends put up in a 5-game stretch.
But, I mean, if you had him, you probably won those 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know people that won playoff games because of Hawkinson and how dominant he was, but I just think he's way too spotty. You add in Jordan Addison. I think the Vikings team as a whole is going to regress this year.
Yeah,
so I'm not liking Hawkinson that early in the draft.
Yeah. So you'd rather wait? You'd rather take Waller over him?
I mean, that's my guy.
As an unbiased Jets fan, you'd rather Waller?
You lead right into my next point. So my guy's Darren Waller. Give me Darren Waller over T.J. Hawkinson any day of the week. Darren Waller is the number one receiving option of Giants offense. We've already talked about the Giants in the AFC East pod. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. He looks phenomenal. He's fast. He's unguardable. He has to line up against the corners because no linebackers or safeties in the team can cover him. Again, it's health, but if Darren Waller's healthy, his ceiling's so much higher. He's more like playing receiver at tight end. I'll take him over Hawkinson a couple rounds later, any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like Kittle over all of them at that point.
I'm not a big Kittle guy, man. Kittle's he's a way better actual tight end than he is fantasy because he'll have the same kind of thing as Hawkinson. He'll go.
I do get your whole point of just like out of all those guys, like who's the number one option on the team, like. Assuming Waller stays healthy,
he's clearly
the number one option versus Kittle, where you can make a case that he's number 3.
Well, Kittle's phenomenal. He could be the number one on any given day.
And then the same, you can make the same with Hawkinson. Hawkinson, I don't think you can make a case that he's 3, but he's definitely 2 because he's not ahead of Jetta. So Waller is the number one target, but Waller has more injury risk, although Kittle also does too.
Yeah.
Hawkinson, I would say, is safer than both of them because he doesn't have the injury risk that the other two have, and he's younger, but... Yeah, I mean that's a good debate there because all 3 of those guys are kind of going in similar spots, and they're kind of after that tier break where who is the tight end 3.
Yeah,
so
it's tough. It's a big jumble there. You got guys like Freiermuth, Cole Kmet had a couple big weeks last year. If you're not taking Kelsey or Andrews, I mean, there's a big
and I just want to get
6 to 8 guys that could go finish anywhere.
And I got into Njoku before and Kincaid why I didn't like him, but I want to get into like. Dalton Schultz, a guy I'm targeting super late. He's my guy. I think he's going to have a big year. I'm going off of the history of fantasy. He's been very relevant. He seems to have a nose for the end zone. Houston went out and got him. Things we've seen with rookie quarterbacks a lot. They like to target the tight ends. They're kind of safety blankets. I mean, he finished as the tight end 10 last year. 57 catches last year for 577 yards. He wasn't as good as the year prior, but I think he has the potential to be the number one target in that offense. So to me, getting a guy that late bodes well. And also, we don't know, like outside of Kelsey and Andrews, there's really no guarantee for that tight end 3. So I don't think he'll be there, but I think he'll be guaranteed to be a top 10 tight end again this year. And at that point, if I'm not getting Kelsey or Andrews, I'm perfectly fine punting and streaming.
That's fair.
So, I mean, you got anything else for tight ends? Otherwise, I want to get into defenses and kickers real quick, and then we'll go to trivia.
Quick little defensive segment.
I just want to start off with kickers. I think you can go with anyone. I just want to say, do not draft Justin Tucker in your draft. And if you do choose to draft him, it better not be till late.
Yeah.
I'm seeing on ESPN that his ADP is 80. I mean, that is crazy.
There's no way that's factual. Dude. Those are definitely people that are like, I filled my entire starting lineup except for my kicker and defense, and I'm going to take a kicker. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, please do not. I mean, even McPherson going at 105 is kind of early, but at least that's 25 picks after. I mean, Justin Tucker wasn't even the number one kicker last year, and he's going 30 picks before Carlson, who was the number one kicker. Like, how? I just don't get it. Like, there's no, like, clear, like, up-and-cut kicker where it's like, all right, he's so much better. It's not like the tight end position.
Yeah.
So, please do not take a kicker till at least one of your last 4 picks. Honestly, I have always been under the mindset that I'm going to use my kicker with my last 2 picks. I usually target defense first because I like to get a specific defense for that week. But to me, kickers have always been matchup dependent. I mean, if you get a guy like Carlson who's just matchup proof and a beast always, fine. But do not take a kicker in the 7th round.
The top kicker is Tucker, Carlson, McPherson, Gano.
Yeah. But guys,
there's not a huge difference there. Don't be that guy that takes.
And I know a lot of you know this, and they're like, "Who would do that?" There's so many people out there. I've been in so many drafts where they're like, "I got to fill up my roster spot." Like, go take the bench depth. Do not go take the kicker.
You could find league winners at that point. You got to throw
Yes.
darts on young.
Justin Tucker is not a league winner.
Yeah, kicker will never win you the league. Finding
There's
a rookie
so many
receiver
times where
that
I-
breaks out at the end of the year like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, that can win you a league.
I
So
can't
you
tell
want
you
to throw
how many-
those darts there.
I can't tell you how many times I picked up a kicker as like 1% roster percentage, and he gets me like 15 points. It's like he outscored Justin Tucker, and some guy took him in the 7th round. Like
Yeah.
I know a kid who took Justin Tucker in 4th overall. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
All right.
Quick defensive segment.
And then
We're just going to give a defense we really like this year, a defense we dislike.
So for me, my defense I really like is the Saints. We've highlighted their schedule's pretty easy. I think they have the chance to produce a lot of sacks, and they have a great secondary that can force a lot of turnovers. So I'm big on the Saints because I think their schedule's very easy.
I like, this pains me to say, but the Cowboys, they're number one.
What?
They're number one in turnover differential
how
the
could
previous
you?
2 seasons.
way.
Micah Parsons is legit. He's going to get a ton of sacks. He's going to force a lot of fumbles. The secondary adds Gilmore, and they already led the league in turnover differential the previous 2 years. So, I mean, the Cowboys are going to be a top defense.
Yeah.
Niners are ranked 1, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas finished 1.
Yeah.
It pains me to say, but that defense
Wow, I didn't
is
even
legit
realize.
for fantasy.
That's another point. I mean, the Niners at 73. That's another thing where it's like, if you're wasting a 7th round pick on the defense, like I know the Niners could
That's
be
terrible.
good, but it's like just before I tell a defense I don't like, do not take the Niners in the 7th round. I mean, 73. Are you kidding me? That's even worse. That's all. Wait, that's close. That's damn near late 6th round. Do not take a defense at that point. Like you should not be taking a defense till like your 11th or 12th player. Like there's no reason you shouldn't be taking a defense till mid hundreds.
Yeah. All right, what defense do you dislike?
I'm not big on the Dolphins. They're ranked 5th right now. I think they're in a tough division with a tough schedule this year. Jalen Ramsey's
for a while.
out. So I know they made some moves, but I don't know, man. I'm really not high on this defense with the schedule. I think you can make a case you can stream them when they have good matchups, but I mean, at 5th, I'm staying away from them.
My dislike's the Jags. Touched on in the last episode. Any good team they play, they get torched. They let up 31 points per game to top offenses that they played. I believe it was top 15 offenses they played. They're going to be in shootouts. The only reason I would play them is if I'm streaming them and I'm playing against Houston or Indianapolis with rookie quarterbacks. That's the only reason I'd play them. But, yeah, I'd stay away from this defense. They don't have a lot of talent.
Yeah, well, I think that pretty much kind of wraps up this. We hope you guys enjoyed us doing this segment, but before we finish the episode, we want to do some trivia, so we'll be right back with
Trivia
that.
time, baby.
Hey everyone, make sure you remember to fill out those sheets, ask us some questions. We really like it, helps out the show a lot. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome back in. It's my favorite time of the episode, trivia time, Reagan. And we
Yes,
are
sir.
knotted up 2-2 right now, so this is a big one. Who's going to take the lead? It's gonna
Can I say me? Yeah, I think me.
be- Okay, we'll see.
I mean, I am the fantasy king for a reason.
Yeah, the fantasy king that has never won a fantasy title, so
That's not
Yeah.
even
he's a
true.
self-appointed.
The
That's
ringless
not
king.
even true.
The ringless, the
That's not
ringless,
even true.
ringless king.
Ask me football questions, baseball
the
questions,
fantasy
hockey
jester.
questions.
It's fine. You just put all
Basketball
your,
questions.
Just
I
because you
win
put all your
every
money in
fantasy league.
fantasy leagues and don't win anything back doesn't make you a king. You know. All right, Joe. What do we got?
All right,
That's
to
an
start
L.
us
That's an
out-
L take from an L man's.
All right,
L man's.
Colin, you starting us out?
Yeah, he won, so
Yeah,
he's
this-
got it.
All right.
Yeah, the winner.
This is
Rules
from
are
Jared
rules.
Crampton.
Okay, Crampy.
What
up, Crampon?
year was the last year the fantasy running back has repeated back-to-back years? So they were the RB1 back-to-back years.
Oh, I see.
What year? When I feel like the back is like Chris Johnson.
Okay, so say it.
Yeah, but I don't know what year it was. That's the thing
Oh,
I'm
so-
trying to think about.
Wait, it's not the player name?
Well, it was the year. The question was, but I mean,
Do you have the player as well?
I could give you the player. I don't know.
I think the player would be good.
Ask the player.
Yeah, the player. Just say the player.
Yeah, just say the
I
player.
said Chris Johnson.
It's not.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with David Johnson.
No. It's LT.
Wow.
That long ago, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it was gonna be like Derrick Henry or something when I read it, but it was fucking.
No, I don't.
Wow.
All
Think,
right.
I know it wasn't Henry. For some reason, I thought David Johnson.
That long.
All right.
I know he was one year.
We got a tough question from Walmart.
Oh, shout out Walmart.
Oh, let's go Walmart. Hook me up with a
Can
dub
you
here.
name the first place leaders year by year in fantasy PPR since 2015?
Dude, what the hell? That is
Wait.
a brutal question.
Yeah.
Wait. So I gotta say
So I'll
Oh,
tell you how many
then
names.
from- so how
One,
many
two,
I'm
3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
The overall,
8 names.
Do they have to be in order? Could I just
like
like
the overall number one fantasy player?
Yeah.
because
So, like,
Eckler
they're
was
quarterback.
last year?
No, they're quarterbacks.
No,
Not all of them are.
no.
The number one overall player.
Yeah, not all of them are quarterbacks.
Yeah,
though.
but like most of them are gonna be quarterbacks.
Oh, well, that's kind of.
There are 2 that aren't. Or 3 that aren't.
So
So there's-
Mahomes was last year then,
Mm-hmm.
and then the year before that was Cup.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that was. I'm gonna go with Mahomes again.
I'm not saying any. Should
I
I?
guess that's not true.
I mean, you could just say it.
All right, fine.
All right, fine.
It's a quarterback, but it's not him.
It's
Oh.
Josh Allen. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, then you take over because I'm already out.
But you already got that one wrong.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
keep going.
All right, yeah,
so
you're
what year
good.
was that? That was
So-
20,
So that
21?
was yeah.
So you got to get 5 more in a row.
So the next one, I'll give you one hint. The next one is not one of the quarterbacks.
2020?
Mm-hmm.
An idea who it is.
I feel like it's back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is it McCaffrey?
Yes.
Okay.
So 4 more.
2019, Lamar? No, that's 2018.
Nope.
Lamar's 2018. 2019.
2019.
Was Lamar?
I'm going to go Mahomes.
Yes.
2018 was Lamar.
No.
Okay, so you're done.
It was Russell Wilson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like,
we actually went on a pretty good stretch.
You guys
between
went
it.
far, yeah.
But
it
who's
was
getting
good.
Russell Wilson?
All right, I'll just finish it. Then David Johnson, then Cam Newton.
I would have
Wait,
guessed
so
David Johnson. I knew
Lamar
David
wasn't
Johnson.
number one when he was
No.
the MVP.
I knew David
No,
Johnson
no,
was
no.
insane that one year. That's why I thought he was the RB. That's why I said him because I knew he had one year where he was the RB1. But
Wow, that's
oh, that's right. Because then the next year he broke his wrist week 1 after being drafted first overall.
yeah, that's a really good question. Tough one. All right.
All right, we got.
So much harder than your question.
I know. But neither of us got it either. I mean,
Yeah.
you got the chance to steal.
Ryan asks,
Right, Luke?
what is the most amount of fantasy points a kicker has recorded in a single game?
Oh, that's a good one. I guess it
Holy
depends on.
shit.
I guess so. It would be based off of 5 for 50.
Ryan would ask about the
I would say
kicker.
that probably be based off of like standard scoring where you get 1 for the extra point and then 3 for 30,
Yeah.
4 for 40, 5 for 50.
I'm going to go 28.
Holy shit!
No way.
Holy shit!
Oh, let's go! There's no
That's
way!
actually
It was
crazy.
Ganell, right? Wasn't it Ganell?
I don't know who it was.
Let's
pretty sure it was
go!
Ganell.
That's a big one. Come on, dude. You're flustered.
I'm
You're
not-
like, I am screwed today.
I'm not even
This guy
messing-
knows.
no.
This guy's the fantasy king.
I knew it was 28 because I'm pretty sure it was last year with Ganell.
Might have been.
I'm not even messing. I'm
I
almost
didn't do my
positive it
research
was
on
last
that.
year.
I'm pretty positive.
No,
it
I
was
know.
last
I
year.
know it was 28 because I'm pretty sure it's been 28 multiple times. I'm almost positive it was last year with Ganell for 28. I mean, that's still a good question. I'm not gonna cap. But I mean, I guess it could have been. I don't know. I feel like Justin Tucker's like that's my whole point. That goes back to my point from before. That yeah, you could get 28, but like that's all hit or miss. Like you're not like drafting a guy. You're not
Rob Baronas, 28.
okay, and you weren't you're not drafting
You'd say-
Justin Tucker expecting to get 28 points. That's all luck.
Yeah.
You guys didn't know who Rob Baronas was?
No.
Look up.
Okay.
No, I've
What's
heard
the-
of him.
what do
I
we
just
got?
didn't-
All right,
forgot
next-
about him.
You're flustered now.
Kyle
You're fucked.
Curley asks, who did Kareem Hunt make his NFL debut against and how many touchdowns did he score?
Wow.
So I have to answer 2 parts. I mean, I know it was
Yeah.
against the Patriots and he scored
Okay.
3 touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
That's
he also
really
fumbled
good.
on the first
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Wow,
that. Good
dude,
game.
that's impressive. That's impressive.
Boom, baby! You're flustered. You're flustered.
All right, Colin, I got a question from another one of your boys.
Oh gosh.
Which one?
Lino,
Lino. Okay, let's see if this one's
Zeke
better than
has
this last one.
more career rush yards and a better yards per carry in less games than what legendary running back?
Bro, that's awesome. No, I fuck with this. Lino, I already know I'm gonna
Lino
like you
would
there.
ask about Zeke, but this
No,
is
Zeke,
a
I love
crazy
Zeke.
question.
Zeke's awesome. Zeke's awesome.
Can you repeat it? Because
Zeke has more career rush yards and a better yards per carry in less games than what legendary running back?
Dude,
it could be several.
it could be like a million answers.
Yeah, I don't know why. This is a.
Lino, this
we're
is-
not doing this. This is a stupid question.
Can I just?
He wanted to call you out in fantasy, and he wanted to stump you on this question.
Yeah.
Who was the- what's
wait,
the
can I-
answer?
was the answer like?
It was Earl Campbell.
Oh, I mean,
I
was
mean,
making a
neither of
few
us would
players
have got
have
it,
done
but
that.
like, I feel like it could be like more than a lot of like legendary running
Yeah.
backs. Also,
Okay.
All right, I'll give you a
defines
Luke
legendary.
Mortarana question.
Okay.
That's too funny.
Which kicker has the most fantasy points in a single game after the year 2000?
there's so many kicker questions. I love
Bro, I
Yeah.
swear to fuck. I swear to fuck if the answer is
it.
what
Graham
I think it is.
Gano.
No.
Rob Baronis?
No. Yeah, I should have thrown another Rob Baronis.
Dude, that's
question.
why, because we just said he had 28 in the game, so like, I was gonna freak out if he said Rob Baronis after you.
It was Jake
Alright.
Feely in 2010.
I only said Rob
man.
Baronis because I was
Yeah.
like, we just said he had 28 in
Jake
the game.
Feely. You used him in your grid today.
Yeah. Oh, that's even worse.
No,
Yeah,
that's even worse.
I used him for the Jets Dolphins in the Immaculate Grid today.
Okay, so you're
Yeah, my
Question
turn.
now.
Question number 6.
1-1, correct?
Okay.
Going in my third. Question number 6.
Who was the top scoring wide receiver in fantasy football during the year 2019?
Michael Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Bang! Didn't even think. Do I look flustered? That doesn't look like
That's
a
good.
flustered
Nah, dude,
response.
respect. Tip the cap.
Cold blood. Yeah, tip that. Tip that. That's my caddy. That's my caddy.
It tipped. It tipped. But I ain't
All right,
not your
Colin.
caddy.
Which quarterback posted a staggering 55 passing touchdowns in the year 2011? And he was made him a fantasy football juggernaut that year.
Peyton
Reagan, do you
Manning.
know it?
Yeah, know it. Obviously, it's Peyton.
He said Peyton, and then you just said Peyton again, so that was your guess?
Yeah, it's right.
It's not.
What?
It's Drew Brees. That was stupid, Reagan. You could have guessed something else.
I just really thought it was Peyton Manning. I was just like so confident it was
That's
Peyton Manning
crazy.
that I
I
was
was
just
so
like,
confident it was Peyton Manning.
I
too.
just thought you got it right, so I was like, yeah, no shit, it was Peyton Manning.
Yeah, well, that was dumb.
Oh wow.
Oh, my computer.
Can I take it back?
No, you can't.
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa,
This
please.
is question 8.
What
My
happened?
computer just died.
All right. Well, yeah. So you just pulled up on your phone. Take your time. But
Damn,
Yeah.
I really thought that was Peyton Manning. What year did Peyton Manning throw for over 50 touchdowns then?
guess it would have been like 2015 maybe. Yeah, I think it was 2015. No, yeah, because it's the year they beat the Panthers in the Super Bowl, I believe, when they went 15-1. I think it was 2015, brother. Yeah, now that I think about it, he was.
ESPN's
Oh yeah, I'm such an idiot, dude. That was fun. Peyton Manning was still in the Colts because the Jets lost in the AFC Championship the year before to the Colts.
He threw 55 touchdowns in 2013.
Damn.
2 years off.
I guess I
same
jumped the
number.
ball there.
Same number of touchdowns, just 2
Yeah.
years off.
Well, either way, I'm up 2-1, right?
Yeah, you're up 2-1, and you
What
got the next
question are we going into?
8.
8.
I mean,
Okay.
Fuck, we could have been 3-1
So
going into 8.
technically,
I mean, either way, I'm sunning my son right now, but holy crap.
You shut your damn mouth. You shut your mouth.
Really did?
Yeah. Damn.
Well, while we're waiting for Joe to pull up these things, I mean, if you guys have any questions, you can just DM us on Instagram or fill out the Google form, and we can kind of get into it on the episode. But obviously, there's so many
we're
different
back online.
platforms out there, so we answer best ball, dynasty, keeper league questions, redraft, all of them. We'll answer it all because we honestly play in all those leagues. So,
All right. Down to the wire here.
here.
me, question number 8, my 4th. I'm up 2-1 to seal the deal potentially.
Not necessarily.
Not
I know you're
necessarily.
a math major, but
I might not be a math
Necessarily.
major, but I'm certainly
All right.
giving you the business, bud.
Who holds the record for the most points scored in a single...
Jamal Charles.
Oh, you didn't want me to finish it.
I didn't because I already knew it.
Okay.
So I'm like that.
It's wrong.
Oh,
dude, you're such a cocky asshole. Finish the question, Joe.
All right, I'm going to restart.
But he's
Who
done.
holds the record for the most points scored by a single player in a standard fantasy football season?
oh, in the whole season?
Dude, see, like, you didn't even let me finish.
Patrick Mahomes.
Not a quarterback.
Oh, you're
Wait,
such
what do
a
you mean
cocky
non-quarterback?
asshole. Yeah, it
I don't
wasn't a
know.
quarterback.
It was like.
Did you say non-quarterback?
No.
No,
He
but
was just saying it wasn't a quarterback. Who was it?
it was LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah, he's just saying it
186.
wasn't a
God
quarterback.
fucking damn it.
But I guess in case
I
you
guess
had to
it was-
again.
I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think it's a quarterback.
I know. You would think so.
You can imagine. All right.
Cocky
well,
asshole.
Back to me. I mean, I'm not.
All right.
I let the kid finish
Yeah,
the question.
I've been so sick of I was
You
right.
wouldn't have been able to get it. Which quarterback holds the record for the most fantasy points scored by a rookie quarterback in a single season?
Wow.
Cam Newton.
Yes, sir.
Let's go!
Talked
Let's
about it
go!
on the pod
I'm
today.
surprised it took you that long.
I was
We
going.
literally talked about it before.
I was thinking
I,
about.
mean, I guess Mike Vick
I
could
was
have been a
thinking
good
about
guess
it.
too.
For some reason, I kind of had like Russell Wilson in my brain too.
Yeah, Mike Vick would have probably been a good one too. But anyway,
All right.
If I get it right, I win.
This is the
If
final
I get it
question.
wrong, you can
2-2.
win on the steal,
2-2.
or maybe it's a tiebreaker.
All right. What's the tiebreaker?
All right, we're gonna have to pull it up for her.
No, this isn't a tiebreaker.
Oh, this is the final.
No,
yeah,
this
final
is the
question.
final
Yeah, final
right?
question.
Say no tiebreaker, clown. Come on now.
Do Garrett.
Which ones have you done?
Oh wait, let's do this one.
Maybe I won't jump the gun this time.
No, that's easy.
Yeah. Why don't you?
Oh, that's
Patience
Oh,
is a
whoa,
virtue,
what
my
about this
friends.
one? Number 7.
Yeah. Wait.
Don't give him a cupcake.
No, we're not.
No, give me a cupcake. I want to win.
No, but he.
Why?
might-
Colin
he
gets
might
cupcakes in his wins, but then when I want to win, it's like, don't give him a
Me,
cupcake.
dude. None of mine have
Jake
been
was
cupcakes
like,
today.
what year were the Giants founded? Who is the Giants owner?
Well, I technically have to.
Who were the last two? Who
What year's the Giants win the
who,
Super Bowl?
who was the quarterback when the Giants won their first Super Bowl?
Yeah,
Who was the
it's-
quarterback when the Giants won their second?
Safe
Alright,
to
well,
say
alright,
that
well,
Toph
Alright,
does
fine.
not know ball and is
Alright,
banned
guys.
from ATF.
All right, we got it now. We got one.
Tilly's the
Okay, what is it?
Tilly's our third
Alright.
host.
In the 2017 NFL season, this running back finished as the overall fantasy football RB1, outscoring other prominent running backs that season like Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell. Who was this running
Well,
back?
you just gave away two of the guys that couldn't be.
Yeah, so you got like
Wait, who wrote this
a
question?
bunch of other shit. No, I made this one.
Yeah, if you just told.
All right, let's
gave
see if
away
you get
two
it.
of the
Let's see.
top
If it's a
guys.
layup, let's see it.
Yeah,
I didn't say it was a layup.
now.
That
RB1
was
was
him.
2017.
I did not say it
Colin
was.
pulled his.
I'm not saying it's a layup. I'm
Devontae
saying
Well, I
Freeman.
you gave away Le'Veon Bell
No.
and
No.
Todd Gurley.
All right, you're up.
RB1 in 2017.
So that's 3 people. It isn't. So it should be really easy now.
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying gave away two.
Come on,
Because like
I gave
Todd
away-
Gurley.
I just
it was
gave away
super
3.
easy. I didn't say it was super easy, so don't give me shit.
That was a good guess.
You
though.
said not Todd Gurley, not Le'Veon Bell, correct?
Yep.
What is that?
Oh man. 2017, bro.
Come on, man. Guess something.
I'm thinking.
Thinking a lot. Wow. Already 20 seconds of thinking.
Oh, that's so difficult.
30 seconds of thinking now.
It's not. I'm just gonna say Eckler, dude. I don't know.
Eckler?
Eckler
In 2017?
Dude, I don't know.
This
man.
guy's an ass clown!
I don't know.
What?
is it?
Kareem Hunt.
Wow.
Oh my
I think
God.
my guess was pretty good. What was Freeman in 2015? There was one year he was RB1, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
he was good one year.
All
right,
I think it was the
sudden
year
death.
you won the fantasy league.
So what? That was Kansas City year.
Yeah. That
So
was
we
the
got
rookie
sudden
year, I
death
think.
again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Garrett.
Come on, Big G.
Nope.
All right, sudden
Gonna
death
be a layup.
as usual. The way it normally goes, 2-2, sudden
Kareem
death.
Hunt, man.
Yeah, I would not have guessed
I was
it.
never gonna.
I was
guess
trying to go
that.
out of the box with Devontae Freeman.
Me too. I just
but-
couldn't. I was like.
I mean,
none
yeah,
of these
yours
make
was
sense.
way out of the box because I don't even know if Eckler was in the league yet. But
Well, I mean,
you
he's
know.
28 years old, so
was he in the league yet at
that
2017?
was 6 years ago. So he was 22. He's
First
probably in the
25.
league.
Okay, that was valid. I just know back then.
I don't know,
Melvin
dude.
Gordon
I
was
just said the random name.
You panicked. You were flustered. It's okay. Everyone gets flustered here and then.
Well, you weren't getting Kareem Hunt either.
No, I think the first one.
Oh,
Right?
shit.
Yeah.
First one.
Before it.
Hey! Stop cheating, bro. Usually looking up top ass fantasy questions on his computer.
All right.
Dude,
none of
that's
that.
crazy.
All right.
Dude!
Sudden death. Is he actually?
Yeah, what do you...
That's so
No, I'm not, dude. I'm looking at
He
Devontae
looks up
Freeman's stats.
most
He
common
ran for-
asked
he ran
fantasy
for-
football trivia
He ran
questions.
for
Right.
800 yards in 2017.
Dude, stop cheating, bro.
Questions coming in hot.
Okay.
Which wide receiver set the record for the most receiving touchdowns in a single NFL season, making him a fantasy football sensation during
Randy
his
Moss.
prime? Yes, sir.
Let's go! Suck my...
I'm not gonna finish that on the pod.
Dick.
3-2. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, man. I was gonna say
man.
Cup anyway. I was
Come
gonna say
on,
Cup
baby.
anyway.
I was there 2007 when he caught it down the sideline against the Giants against. That was
Colin
week
takes the
17.
lead.
Take 38-35 lead.
You were there?
I was there.
Tell everybody he was there.
That's like the first play I remember at an actual football game was Brady hitting Moss down the sideline in that
Wow.
legendary season.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy,
Week
man.
17.
As a Giants fan, that's your favorite memory. That's nuts.
I didn't say it was my favorite. I said it's my first. So
Reagan, you're
Keep
down
skewing
now.
my words.
What were you-
3-2. Big dogs up top,
Little-
as I should
Little
be.
baby tongue all stall.
I know
Two in a row.
I know ball.
2 in a row.
You don't know ball.
I think his
Oh, I know,
favorite
Paul.
memory was
He's
the
got-
Sean Jackson punt return.
Yeah, I heard that was his
momentum.
favorite memory. As an unbiased Jet fan, what's your favorite Jets memory? Or is it
Probably
this year when we win the Super Bowl?
Probably when they
I
made
can
the,
get a 5 to that.
probably the last
Can I get a
time they were
5
in
to
the
that?
Buck
playoffs, like
Bumble.
12
Can I
years
get a
ago.
5 to that?
The
Come
Buck
on,
Bumble,
come on.
baby.
Don't leave me
It's
hanging,
gotta be
man.
the
We're
Buck
excited for
Bumble.
the Jets. Yeah, that's just two unbiased Jet fans vibing. All right, guys, but that wraps up this long, very long fantasy episode.
Fantasy special. That was fun, dude. That
I
was
mean-
that was the most fun I've had so far. That was
Like I
that was
said-
a great one.
Before, if you guys have any questions for
Nah,
us,
it's chill here.
if you guys got any questions for us, just ask us on Instagram or put them on the Google form. We're pretty active on all of our social medias, but yeah, we're in a ton of leagues and we're pretty active on it, so don't be afraid.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the support.
Yes.
See you next time.